in the red uniforms. That's what they wear at Candlestick. Dick Henning over for Elder in the end zone, and he'll down it there for a touchback. Vinny Testaverde, no interceptions last week and was not sacked in an impressive game. Vinny will lead the Buccaneers. And here is the offense, starting with the offensive line. Paul Gruber, Mike Simmons, Randy Grimes, John Bruin, and Rob Taylor. Ron Hall is the tight end. Lars Tate and William Howard are the backfield. Mark Carrier and Bruce Hill are the wide receivers, but we'll be seeing William Drury and rookie Danny Peebles, who has a lot of speed, off the bench. First and 10 at the 20. Testaverde swings it out to Lars Tate. And Tate gets about 6 yards where Larry Roberts makes the stop for the 49ers. Roberts is starting at the left defensive end position in place of Pierce Holt, who will also play. Michael Carter, banged up, will also be in there. Kevin Fagan. We'll see Daniel Stubbs off the bench. Charles Haley, Jim Fonhorst, Michael Walter, and Keena Turner are the linebackers. Darrell Pollard is starting in place of Tim McKyer. Don Griffin, the other cornerback. Chet Brooks, the strong safety, and Ronnie Lott, the free safety, although McKyer will play, as will Jeff Fuller. Two tight ends for the Bucs. 2nd and 4 at the 26. And the pitch that time to Howard. And the fullback is short of the first down by about a yard.
Now we're seeing the type of game plan that Ray Perkins wants his quarterback to execute today. The dump-off pass on first down to give his quarterback confidence. He's got that first one under his belt right now. The other part about the Bucs this year is they've got a pretty strong running game. Howard has looked very good, gives them a real strong, solid fullback, and Lars Tate has got the speed to go outside.
And Ray Perkins is hoping that the Magic will strike the Buccaneers in the second game as well after their victory away from home last week. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Tom McHale, number 73, is a tackle eligible on 3rd and 1. Brooks chasing Testaverde and throws him for a loss. It'll be in the grass back inside the 15. Chet Brooks came in unmolested.
Quite a gamble on the first 3rd and short situation for the Bucs. They faked the old blast play to the tailback, but Chet Brooks is in on a safety blitz, and he makes the play.
A loss of 14 on the play, and so Chris Moore, rookie kicker from Alabama, who was recruited by Ray Perkins at Alabama, will be kicking. John Taylor goes deep for the 49ers. He is looking for good field position. Taylor will call for the fair catch at the 49ers 44-yard line, a 41-yard kick. Joe Montana. Those are his numbers last week in the victory over the Colts in Indianapolis, and the rest of his offense. Bubba Paris, Jeff Regal, Jesse Sapolo, and Bruce Colley, along with Harris Barton up front. Brent Jones is the tight end. Roger Craig and Tom Rathman are the running backs. Jerry Rice and John Taylor are the wide receivers. First down, Niners. A fake screen pass to Craig. Knocked out of bounds in Tampa Bay territory at the 48 by Urban Randall. As Montana looks to the sidelines, here is the Tampa Bay defense. Reuben Davis, Kurt Jarvis, and Robert Goff. Kevin Murphy, Eugene Marv, Urban Randall, and Winston Moss are the linebackers. Ricky Reynolds and Rod Jones are the cornerbacks. Harry Hamilton and Mark Robinson, both from Penn State, are the safeties. Bobby Futrell and Donnie Elder are the nickels. It'll be 2nd down and 2. Play action. Montana overthrows Rathman, and let's see if it was ruled incomplete. It was an interception, but they're going to bring it back to the 30. Ricky Reynolds. Ricky Reynolds on the interception. Rathman was the intended receiver.
Well, the 49ers are going to go with the play action on 2nd and short here. The fake to Craig, and now Montana just overthrows Tom Rathman here. And Ricky Reynolds does a nice job of staying in his zone, reading the pass play, and then making the interception. That's a big play early in this game for the Bucs.
That run didn't count, but Reynolds had done his job. And it was Kevin Murphy who put good pressure on Joe Montana. So Vinny Testaverde gets a second chance. Buccaneers have a first down on their 31-yard line following the first turnover of this game.
Perkins may live to regret his decision on 3rd and 1 to go for the play action pass, but he gets a great reprieve early in this game when the 49ers come up with a turnover.
The up back is William Howard. Lars Tate on first down. Penalty marker is thrown and about a yard on the play. Larry Roberts in on the stop. And so Gordon McCarter will explain the first transgression of this one.
That appears to be a personal foul against the 49ers. I believe that one of the linemen must have come up with a fist to the face mask.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 29 defense, 15 yards, first down.
Don Griffin, the cornerback, and a big break for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right here.
Griffin was in a bump and run that time and trying to hold Mark Carey at the line of scrimmage. He must have got one of his arms up into Carrier's face mask, an automatic personal foul.
You mentioned the 49ers are hurting in the secondary. Eric Wright is inactive for this game, and Tim McKyer did not start. He has a hamstring pull and also a hip injury, so they're banged up. First and 10, Tampa Bay on their own 47. Testaverde with time. Completes the pass into San Francisco territory, and it's complete. And a marker down. Ron Hall, the tight end, made the catch, but another flag.
We're going to have a face mask against the 49ers, so this is one of the things that Seifert talked about when things are going bad for them.
That's what it is, another 15-yarder.
If he gives the Buccaneers some momentum by these types of plays, they're going to take advantage of it.
Foul, 15-yard face mask, number 55 defense, first down.
That was Jim Farnhorst, the inside linebacker.
There's Farnhorst, number 55, and now he is going to be ripping away for the ball, actually, trying to get it away from Hall, but he gets too much face mask with that left hand.
So as a result of two big penalties, the Buccaneers are at the 49er 30. Opening minutes here of the first quarter. One running back is William Howard. He gets a chance here. Howard, a big bruiser, nearly 250 pounds, picks up a couple of yards. Keena Turner makes the stop for the 49ers.
30 yards in penalties so far against the 49ers really have aided this drive, to say the least.
And as you pointed out, is Roger Craig working over on the sidelines. Tampa Bay's offense is a conservative offense and not a difficult one for the 49ers to read, but execution's got to mean everything.
That's what Ray Perkins has stressed with these Bucs this year, is execute, out-execute your opponent.
Second down and 7 on the 27. Testaverde, Lars Tate on the screen pass. Tate gets to the 24-yard line, will be short of a first down by about 4. Again, Keena Turner, the linebacker, in on the stop.
I worked with Ray Perkins 10 years ago or 11 years ago in San Diego when he was an assistant coach there, and we ran a lot of these same type of plays. This is just a read screen where the quarterback can look down the field. If he sees his tight end, he can throw it as he did to Hall earlier in this drive, or he can just dump it off to his fullback as he did that time. Then he's doing a nice job of setting up quick, reading the defense quickly, and getting the ball off before the pressure gets to him.
Don Smith, number 47, is in the backfield now with William Howard on 3rd down and 4. Pass is caught. It'll be a first down. It was Hall again, the tight end. Michael Walter on the stop, and the Buccaneers should have a first down inside the 20.
Perkins likes to repeat his plays. He ran this exact same play to the right side on the previous play, comes back this time. Testaverde saw that Hall had enough yardage for the first down, was open in the zone, got him the ball on time. First down, Tampa Bay inside the 20.
Ray Perkins was a receiver at Alabama and later with the Colts, but he can respect the running game, and it kind of sets up the passing of Testaverde, who's a perfect 4 for 4 in the early going. Double tight end for the Bucs. First and 10 on the Niners 19. Howard. 49ers are stopping the inside run by Tampa Bay. That time it was Jim Farnhorst, and as we talk about inside linebackers, we will see Matt Millen the newest 49er who was picked up this week.
Wearing number 54 today, Matt Millen, in the locker room before the game, was complaining about the size of his jersey. It was too tight. He says, I want the big fat jersey so I look bigger out there.
There he is.
Maybe he doesn't want to expose some of those rolls there. Sorry, Matt. All the cheap shots he gave me over the years when playing with the Raiders, I had to give him one back. First chance, too.
You'll get others. 2nd down and 8. Testaverde again with time. Out of bounds, close to another first down. Ronnie Lott chased him there. And if I'm Testaverde, I want to run away from Ronnie Lott as quick as I can.
He got out of bounds, and he may have gotten the first down because it's right on the marker. They're going to bring the chains from the other side of the field.
They got a long way to go to measure this one, but it's a big one as Testaverde hanging by the ball to make sure.
The problem is they have to come all these 53 yards from the other side of the field, and a lot of things can happen to those chains in those 53 yards. But this is a first down.
On a hot day, it's even a longer walk.
Take a look at it from ground level. Watch how Testaverde sits in the pocket real nice here for a long time, reading the field. Now he sees the lane open up, realizes that he only needs a couple of yards for that first down, and also notices Ronnie Lott coming at him and gets out of bounds.
And Lott was smart enough not to give him that extra hit and get another personal foul call.
Not many safeties smarter than Ronnie Lott.
1st and goal on the 9. Lars Tate slices into about the 7-yard line. Jim Fonhorst and Ronnie Lott make the stop. Vinny Testaverde with a big confidence boost with a win. They have had trouble last year. Fewest points in the NFL scored, only 27 points, but they're knocking at the 49ers door here.
And they've taken advantage of 3 49er mistakes on this drive. The interception from Montana by Ricky Reynolds, and then the 2 15-yard penalties.
It'll be 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. Howard, the first back through, gets to about the 2. William Howard, who was called by Ray Perkins as the best blocker he's seen in a long while in football, gets a good start off the blocks for his weight.
He's a big guy, 250 pounds, and he's a great blocker. But what he did last week is he was also became quite a good receiver. He caught 7 passes. But this drive is really important for this young Tampa team. They get the 49ers down 7-0 in the first quarter. Their confidence is just going to build and build and build.
The 9th play of the drive coming up, but if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and an underdog, you've got to get something out of this drive. Testaverde rolling out, and an open field tackle by Brooks might have saved a touchdown with that tackle back at about the 6-yard line.
This is twice now on 3rd and short that the Bucs have elected to go with the play action pass. This is a fine play by Chet Brooks, but you see William Harris there is open for a bit of a time, but Don Griffin plays his responsibility, stayed back, did not come up on Testaverde, did not give him the throwing lane, and so it was great teamwork there between Griffin and Chet Brooks that kept the Bucs out of the end zone.
So the Buccaneers will try to get 3. Donald Igwebuike with Chris Moore, the punter, holding. It'll be a 22-yard attempt. The kick is good. Igwebuike, who kicked a 52-yarder last week, and Ray Perkins' Buccaneers, as they did 2 years ago, have jumped ahead of the 49ers. It's 3-0.
That game 2 years ago started out similar to this one, and the 49ers, in talking to them yesterday, that was on their mind.
Field goal by Igwebuike.
This drive, 10-play drive, does a lot for the Bucs' confidence. This is a young team that really doesn't know how good they are. This is a tremendous barometer for them, playing against a team that many consider the class of the league.
Igwebuike kicking off. Terrence Flagler and Spencer Tillman are back there. This will be Flagler at the 6. And he's down at the 25 by Odie Harris. So we'll see what Joe Montana does to try to bring the Niners back here, trailing 3-0 with 6:28 to go in the first quarter.
You know, in Montana's defense, I will defend any and all quarterbacks, mind you, on any interception. He was under a bit of heat from Kevin Murphy, and that's why that ball was sailing a little bit too high and out of the reach of Tom Rathman.
On the 25, first down. Inside handoff to Tom Rathman, who lost his footing. No gain. Tackle made by Kevin Murphy.
Well, that ought to make Matt Rathman happy. He got a carry there. He has been the 49ers' only controversy this year, and he's not real comfortable in that situation. He said that he was disappointed he didn't get enough carries last week. The fact that he was taken out, his substitute Harry Sidney came in, ran a play that Rathman usually runs, and that's a good sign, though. Both of these players, all the players on the 49ers, their running backs want that ball, and that's a very positive sign.
Two tight ends, 2nd and 10 at the 25. Montana swings it out to Rathman. Out of bounds, short of a first down by about 3 by Winston Moss. And now for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Well, Dick, with 1:14 to go, this is the touchdown that gave the Eagles a shot. It's tough to see, but take my word for it. Quick is going to take the ball away from his teammate Carter, made it a 2-point game. Then Riggs exploded on the run. He's rushed for 213 yards. Skins threatening. Back to Dick.
All right, Brent, thank you. Redskins and Eagles. Many figure battle for the NFC East title this year. Giants may have a say. 3rd down and 2 for the 49ers. On their 33. Break. Stop. Back to the 30. That was Winston Moss. Moss, the outside linebacker. He's trying to keep their #1 draft pick, Broderick Thomas, on the bench.
And Irvin Randall's also in on this play, number 54. The 49ers try the weak side sweep, and there's just all kinds of bucks there. Great pursuit.
So it is 4th down, and Barry Helton will be punting. Bobby Futrell goes deep for Tampa Bay. Penalty marker down. Good kick by Helton. At the 19, Futrell. Upended by Brent Jones. A 51-yard kick, but a penalty flag thrown at the line of scrimmage. It'll be against the 49ers. They have been hit with 3 penalties thus far in this game. 2 have really hurt.
Oh, the concentration. This is what happens when you play against a team you're supposed to beat. You get not overconfident, not complacent. It's just human nature to go into a ball game like this feeling that we don't have to work as hard, and sometimes that affects your concentration.
Motion, number 26 kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Darryl Pollard. That was a good kick by Helton and not much of a return. We'll see if that penalty comes to haunt the 49ers. We have 4:52 remaining in the first quarter. 3-0. The Buccaneers lead on a field goal by Igwe Bike.
It's not just so much that it'll haunt the 49ers. What it does is it's another positive thing for the Bucs. So they get the interception, they get a couple of penalties, they go down, they get 3 points. Now they stop the 49ers. 49ers make another mistake, push them back another 5 yards, and you're in a punting situation. The 49ers had one blocked last week against the Colts. The Bucs are feeling good about their game.
Helton will try to duplicate what he just did. Great kick. Not quite as long. About 7 yards shorter. Futrell. And he is down at the 33. So that was a 46-yard kick, 5 yards shorter than the last one. Darryl Pollard and Jim Fonhorst in on the stop. So Tampa Bay will go on offense for the 3rd time in this game. Vinny Testaverde, who has cited unity and talking about how the club is really coming together more in his 3rd season.
And he did an interesting thing last week in the game against Green Bay in the 4th quarter. They went on a 5-minute drive to run the clock out to ensure the win. He stepped into the huddle when they were talking and he said, "Hey, you guys, shut up." Something a quarterback has to do to have command of that huddle, but something Vinny had never done before.
Second looks at the quarterback, I'm sure. First down, William Howard gets about 2. Kevin Fagan making the tackle. The inactives today for Tampa Bay are Jamie Lawson, a running back, and Jackie Walker, a tight end who was just reclaimed after being with the Jets. Eric Wright and Steve Bono are inactive for the 49ers. 2nd down and 7, double tight end now for the Buccaneers. They're on their own 37. Testaverde out to Howard on the screen. Howard up to the 41-yard line. And it was Charles Haley, the pass rushing linebacker, covering along with Chet Brooks on the stop. Will bring up 3rd and short now for the Buccaneers.
Well, you're seeing the new conservative Buck offense and the new Vinny Testaverde. Great job last week on 3rd down, completing everything he threw, 5 of them for 1st down. So far today, he's 5 for 5, all for short yardage. But what he's doing is he's completing the passes, moving the chains down the field.
3rd and 3 now. Sylvester Stamps, who is a pickup from the Atlanta Falcons, who's effective on draws and screens. Number 24 in the backfield. Testaverde's pass, and it led Bruce Hill a little bit too much. Incomplete. Covering was Darryl Pollard, and that'll bring up 4th down for Tampa Bay, and they will punt for the first time.
Testaverde has completed the short passes. Now that's his first attempt down the field, and he was just a bit off target, leading Hill too far. So you got to wonder about his confidence as far as throwing the ball down the field is concerned.
Chris Moore will kick for the 2nd time, and John Taylor is back. Said he didn't mind being on the kick teams as well as playing on the offense. Taylor inside the 15. Out of bounds, shy of the 30. Here at Tampa Stadium, Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts. That much time remaining in the 1st quarter. It's 3-0 Tampa Bay on a field goal. In the Philadelphia-Washington game, a wild, high-scoring affair, and the Eagles lead. Redskins can ill afford falling 2 games behind the Eagles after 2, but that's the story. 1st and 10 for the Niners on their 29. Montana will run it out. He'll get the 1st down and slide to about the 43-yard line. A 14-yard pickup for Joe Montana, who last week was the 2nd leading rusher for the 49ers behind Roger Craig.
Oldest man on the football team too, huh? Keeps himself in great shape, and I really enjoy watching Joe. He's got great style and very great, a lot of rhythm there, you know. I mean, he gets back, he gets set up real well, and he throws the ball. Everybody knows how well he throws the ball, but that added dimension of running the ball is what makes him great.
2 tight ends for the Niners. 1st down on the 43. Here's Craig. Hard into the defender and is out of bounds, shy of midfield. It was Mark Robinson and Kurt Jarvis. Penalty flag is down back of the line of scrimmage. Mentioned Joe Montana. Penalty will be against the 49ers, and how Montana really has the peace of mind of being the only quarterback. He doesn't have to worry about Steve Young, and last year that wasn't the case.
And he really wants to prove to everybody that the 49ers can win under his leadership as well.
Number 89 offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
Rookie Wesley Walls, 2nd-round pick out of Ole Miss.
Take a look at it. At the top of the screen is Walls, number 89, and this is the 49ers' 4th penalty here in just the 1st quarter, and it totals 45 yards.
A lot of penalties for a championship team. 1st and 20. Montana can run again. And out of bounds. A great rush was put on him that forced him to change his ways. And that was Kevin Murphy, who put pressure before on the interception. Murphy made Montana now veer to the outside.
And I got to wonder about Joe running too much in this heat and humidity. He is 33 years old. He's in wonderful shape. But I guarantee you he doesn't want to be doing this too much today.
Before the game, when we were down on the field, it was overcast at the time, and when it was not that humid, nor was it that warm. But I think now that the sun is out, the heat is a factor.
Well, you know, when that sun gets out, this stadium also holds the heat very, very well if you like heat. Not me.
2nd down and 16. Harry Sidney in the game. Under pressure, the pass to Rathman, and he'll go down. He got some of it back, but Winston Moss grabbed a hold of Rathman and a loss on the play.
49ers are going to try and throw the screen pass to Rathman here. What happens, though, is that Jeff Briegel, number 65, is out in front, but he just passes up or whiffs on Winston Moss. Sapolo has his man down the field about 10 yards, but Rathman's hung out to dry.
We said it earlier, Moss is trying to keep Broderick Thomas, who's itching to play, on the bench. That's the way to do it. 3rd down and 17, back to the 36. 4 wide receivers for San Francisco. Montana overthrows Jerry Rice, and it's 4th down.
As conservatively as the Bucs are playing on offense, their defense is playing the same way. They're playing a lot of zone, playing very deep, not giving Jerry Rice any single coverage just yet, and they're really frustrating Montana and the 49ers.
Barry Holton back to kick, and Bobby Futrell goes back for Tampa Bay. Good kick by Holton. Futrell back to the 15. And gets to the 25-yard line. 49-yard kick, and so you'd have to say the crowd is, and the Buccaneers, very much in this game with 1:03 remaining in the first quarter. And Ray Perkins had made a promise, put himself out on a limb, said we're going to have a winner in the 3rd year, and this is the 3rd year.
And he's felt that he has a team that has improved each of the 3 years. But the question is, now you are playing a contender, one of the top teams in the league. This is where they're going to find out how much they've improved. And that's quite a statement, though, to say that you're going to be a winner in 3 years. And then you look at the schedule that he's got facing him. It's not going to be easy.
He's got a lot of tough teams coming up. This isn't the only one. 1st and 10 on the 25. Tate with the carry. Lars Tate edges his way to the 30, but another penalty marker is down. All the penalties thus far have been against the 49ers, not this one. Larry Roberts and Chet Brooks on the tackle, and the first penalty of the game is against Tampa Bay, is against the Buccaneers.
Illegal motion, 62 offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
Mike Simmons, the left guard, so it'll be 1st and 15. 59 seconds remain in the first quarter, and you look at the offensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Paul Gruber, a #1 pick, number 74 there, and a line that's done a good job of protecting Testaverde.
Yeah, and you notice Gruber's got those kind of space-age Road Warrior shoulder pads on there. And, you know, Grimes is, maybe we may have an NFL record today because we got 2 Bubbas playing in the offensive line. Bubba Grimes, the center for the Bucs, and Bubba Paris for the 49ers.
1st and 15. Testaverde up the middle, unable to hold on is Howard. With less than a half a minute to go, and there you see Testaverde saying, I just missed that one.
You're also seeing the 49ers changing their defense a little bit. They had been playing more zone. Now they get the Bucs backed up a little bit on a long passing situation. They went with a man coverage underneath with help over the top, and that is what caused Vinny to come off his primary receiver and miss his secondary guy.
Charles Haley put good pressure on. He led the 49ers with sacks a year ago. 2nd down and 15. Here's Tate. We want to welcome the viewers who saw the Philadelphia Eagles send the Washington Redskins to their 2nd loss in a row as the Eagles go 2-0 in a wild game at RFK. Eagles winning 42-37. Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts here at Tampa Stadium as the first quarter has come to an end with the Buccaneers leading the 49ers in a big surprise 3-0 on an Igwe field goal. Interesting game after one. Way overthrown, intended for Bruce Hill, and that'll bring up 4th down.
That was a good defensive series for the 49ers. They changed their coverage. They got a help of a penalty against the Bucs, but they also changed up playing a lot more man in their secondary and less zone, giving Testaverde the ball down the field instead of the quick dump-offs.
He's missed his last 3 passes. And so Chris Moore, the 6th-round pick out of Alabama, who wanted to be a quarterback at one time, settled to be a punter, and he's a good one.
They all want to be quarterbacks, though. You get the most money, you know, get the best jobs after you get through playing ball.
Like this one. John Taylor is deep for the 49ers. Fair catch at the 33. So the 49ers go on offense again. The only turnover was an interception by Ricky Reynolds of Tampa Bay, and the Buccaneers capitalized.
Hello.
Eric Wright is inactive. He has a groin injury again, which has bugged him, and Tim McKyer has not played yet in this game. 1st and 10 on the 33 for the 49ers. Montana has Jerry Wright. And Jerry Wright still going. All of a sudden, when you least expect it, he'll break one to Rice, and that was good for 40 yards as Ricky Reynolds makes the stop on the Super Bowl MVP.
He just continues to amaze everybody. This is just a simple curl pattern by Rice. Montana throws him a nice pass, but now there's all kinds of guys around him showing the ability to avoid tackles and always going down the field, head swiveling around, looking where the tacklers are coming from and hanging onto the ball when he gets contact.
And Ray Perkins said to us yesterday, you can't double them the whole game because then they'll go to other people, but I wonder if you should.
I would.
1st down on the 27 of the Bucs. Rice in motion. They swing it out this time to Rice. Out of bounds, and a furious tackle that time by the cornerback, Rod Jones. If this were in San Francisco, the crowd might be booing Jones for the stop.
Well, they might throw a penalty because the rule says you're not supposed to hit anybody in the head. But Jones comes up with that left hand, gets a little bit of Rice's left shoulder, but he really got a lot of his head.
Comes out of the game, but not before he catches a pass for 40 big yards. 2nd down and 7. Deepest penetration thus far for the 49ers, who trailed 3-0. And a couple of yards for Roger Craig. Maybe no gain, though. A second look. Winston Moss on the stop.
49ers got Jerry Rice started here in the 2nd quarter. Now they're trying to get Roger Craig going. Very rarely do you ever see, and I can't for the life of me, remember a team that has 3 guys who are the very best at their position like the 49ers do, in Montana at quarterback, Rice at receiver, and Craig in the backfield.
Mike Barber, a rookie, number 86, is in the game. So is Harry Sidney, 24. With the heat, they're going to use everyone today. Barber in motion on 3rd and 6. And Montana is sacked by Winston Moss. A 7-yard loss and the first sack of the game by Tampa Bay.
Number 79 is Reuben Davis. He's got the first shot at Montana coming on the twist here, and Joe shows a nice job of avoiding that, but there's always somebody there to clean up, and it's Winston Moss this time.
So Broderick Thomas, the rookie from Nebraska, is watching the man who has the position. Winston Moss play a terrific first half. Now Mike Cofer will attempt a 47-yard field goal. He was 3 for 3 last week. And the kick is good, and the game is tied. So Cofer is perfect on the year. A 47-yard field goal ties the game at 3 with 12:37 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Good on a long field goal with plenty of time remaining in the 2nd quarter. Scoring drive, the key player was Montana's hookup with Jerry Rice, and capped by a 47-yard field goal by Cofer. And now it'll be Cofer kicking off.
key play for Buccaneers that time was the sack by Winston Moss on Montana. So let's give credit both ways on these key plays.
Donnie Elder at the top of your screen and Sylvester Stamps at the bottom. And you're right, normally the 49ers get a 6 when they get that far. It's Elder with a running start at the 4. Penalty marker down. Elder not yet down. And at the 17, it's Darryl Pollard making the tackle for San Francisco. Early penalties were against the 49ers. 2 major ones which hurt them when the Buccaneers scored first. This will be against Tampa Bay. It'll put Vinny Testaverde in a hole to start this drive.
Holding number 56 receiving team during the return.
Sam
Half the
Ano.
distance penalty, first down.
It'll be half the distance. Former Minnesota Viking. Testaverde has shown good numbers so far, Dan, but not a lot of yards. It's been a conservative game plan that way.
Well, and he's missed his last 3, and now he's backed up. So a guy that has always struggled with his confidence is now put in a situation where he's in the shadow of his goalpost. This is where a quarterback needs to have the utmost confidence.
They're on the 9-yard line. On a designed rollout. Incomplete. The pass was intended for William Howard. Covering on the play was Keena Turner, who's doing a lot of that today. The 49ers make no bones about the fact that they feel that people like Keena Turner can cover receivers downfield.
And especially with the shape of their secondary, he's going to play a lot of football today in nickel situations. They can't count it. Wright's out, and they can't count on McKyer because of his problems with the injuries. But Keena Turner is a guy that has always answered that challenge. Really a fine athlete, a lot of athletic ability to be able to cover in the secondary and also play the run and put pressure on the quarterback.
Got hurt last year, lost his job to Bill Romanowski, but has it back now. 2nd and 10. 3 wide receivers. Willie Drury is in there. This pass is caught out of the backfield by Ron Hall, the tight end, and it was Darryl Pollard on the tackle.
This is a big man, Ron Hall, running a flat pattern from the right side of our screen, number 82. Vinny's back 5 steps. He sees the coverage drop off on the wide receiver, Bruce Hill, and now little tiny Darryl Pollard at 180 pounds has got to stop a guy that outweighs him by almost 60.
Hall has had a good afternoon thus far, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 1 for Tampa Bay on the 18. Enough for the first down. Lars Tate, a muscular running back, has the first down, and now will go out of the ball game.
Tate takes a page out of Roger Craig's book of going feet first with the high knee action. Looks like he's working on the Stairmaster here, just going right up over the top to get that first down. I never did understand why those running backs like Sam the Bam Cunningham went head first like that. They're only going to do is land on their head.
Tate has the idea. First down on the 22. 11:40 remaining in the first half. 3-3 our score. Howard races up the middle and has another Tampa Bay first down. Power all the way, and the strong safety Chet Brooks brings him down. 16-yard pickup for Howard.
This is what it looks like if you're a defensive back. Watch the block by Mike Simmons and Bubba Grimes right in the middle. And here's a nice cutback job by William Howard. And now at 250 pounds, the 49ers need to get a couple of guys on him to get him down.
He gets ahead of steam, and if he does, like he did on that play, he can pick up a lot. First down on the 37-yard line. Nothing that time. Howard again getting the call. Very conservative game plan, and that's what Ray Perkins engineered last week in the victory over Green Bay, and they've kept it up against San Francisco as other scores come your way here in the late games.
The 49ers are so explosive on offense that Perkins feels his best chance, if his only chance, is to play a ball control game, keep Montana and company on the sidelines, and hope to wear the 49er defense down by pounding the ball at him.
2nd down and 9 at the 38. 2 tight ends for the Bucs. Screen pass, and Howard can't hold on to it. He was open. And Matt Millen, who entered the game for the first time, looked like he had a problem with William Harris, the tight end. And when you see one of those helmets off, you know they're not just wishing well to the other guy.
Well, they're not tipping their hat, that's for sure. Matt Millen has had his share of go-arounds with offensive football players, played against them for a number of years in those great battles between the Chargers and the Raiders. He'll give you 100% every play.
He had the Raider terminology and then translates it into the 49er plan. He understands that pretty well, as he should. 3rd down and 9 at the 38. Testaverde fires into a crowd, incomplete. Danny Peebles, the rookie from North Carolina State. And I think Vinny is lucky, and there's an injury. Keena Turner is shaken up. Testaverde is lucky that that ball wasn't intercepted.
Very lucky. Keena Turner had a good break on the ball, and Testaverde was forcing it in there to Peebles. Good pressure up front from Larry Roberts, though, made Testaverde hurry that throw.
4th down as Turner goes off. Chris Moore will punt. He's had a good day. John Taylor goes back for the 49ers.
Got to wonder about Testaverde's confidence at this point. He's only hit on 1 of his last 7 passes.
Another good kick by Moore. Taylor way back to the 6. Donnie Elder, good coverage downfield, and Taylor is out of bounds at the 14. To Jeff Briegel, the left guard. Terrence Flagler is in running back. Roger Craig moves to fullback. 1st and 10. Craig gets very little.
He hasn't been able to get much all day. That's his 3rd carry. He's only got 1 yard rushing. You know, the leading rusher for the 49ers, not a good sign. Joe Montana.
And as we said, he came into the game 2nd to Craig last week against the Colts. Tom Rathman comes back in the lineup. You see him, number 44. Who expected Tampa Bay to outrush the 49ers by 47-19 to this juncture? But they are. 2nd and 7 on the 17. Craig in motion. Montana has Rathman. And Rathman is close to 1st down yardage at the 24, where Urban Randall crunches him.
This is going to be a controlled rollout by the 49ers, something that Montana does very well. Was sacked the last couple of times in the straight drop back position. Here he gets on the outside, reads the defense as the Bucs drop off, play it nice and soft, and Rathman gets close to that 1st down, again bringing up a measurement.
You mentioned how Rathman was a bit disturbed, taken out of the game last week against the Colts, and during the week George Seifert actually gave him a game ball, deservedly so for his performance.
And he said, Tom, we read in the papers that you weren't getting the ball enough. Here you go. Here's the game ball. But George did mention that he earned it against the Colts with his performance. Although he didn't get a lot of yards or a lot of carries, he's the type of guy that does a lot of things for you and really takes a lot of pride in this number right here, the 3 receptions. He feels that he's really developing into a fine receiver out of the backfield.
It is a 1st down for the Niners on the 24. Little confusion for the moment. Penalty flag down. Montana throws it away. Smart play. He had Kevin Murphy hot on his collar, but there's a penalty. It'll be against the 49ers. Not a surprising penalty because they didn't look like they were ready to do whatever they planned to do.
No, and you notice Montana, after he got up off the ground and went like in disgust at the bench, he didn't like that play call at all. Didn't like all that shifting around. And the other thing was he was up against the 30-second clock. Probably didn't give his men enough time.
Motion, number 79 offense, penalty decline.
That was Harris Barton, the tackle.
Yeah, what happens is your offensive line is in their stance for a long time there. You got guys shifting back and forth, going the wrong way, trying to get lined up, and they're down in that 3-point stance. Very difficult to stay calm down there, and that Barton that time jumped a little too soon.
The only holdover playing the same position he did at the Super Bowl. Harris Barton, the right tackle. Second and 10 on the 24. Montana has time, and he completes the pass. And that's his tight end, Brent Jones, and that will be enough for a first down for the 49ers to the 36, a pickup of 12.
Nice job by Brent Jones after he got contact to fight through it and pick up that first down. That's a big play for the 49ers because it gives them something positive to build upon now.
New tight ends, of course, for the Niners this year with John Frank and Ron Heller gone. Jones with more experience starts. Walls looks like he's going to be a comer.
And you would expect the 49ers to get the ball to their tight end a lot because of their outside receivers are going to be double covered quite a bit.
First down at the 36. The pitch to Craig. He has been unable to get ahead of steam so far today, and the veteran John Cannon corralled him after a pickup of a couple.
The front line of the Bucs is just flat out playing the 49ers offensive line. That's as simple as that. As great a running back as Roger Craig is, he can't do it on his own. He's got to get help from the guys up front.
7 minutes and 18 seconds to go in the first half. George Seifert warned of letting the Buccaneers think they had a chance to win today.
I think they got a chance.
Second down and 7. Terry Greer and Mike Wilson are the wide receivers. Montana incomplete. Intended for Craig out of the backfield, and it'll be third down. What about overconfidence? I mean, you think a team after beating the Colts last week knows that teams are laying in wait for them.
You know, the 49ers, they had a so-so preseason, 3-2. But what they did is they put a lot of miles in. They traveled all the way to Tokyo. Last week they were in the Midwest at Indianapolis. Now they had to travel all the way across the country. All these jet miles add up. And there's a lot of factors that go into your performance. The 49ers right now are playing very disorganized football, and now they got to have to call a timeout.
That is the first timeout, so the 49ers are clearly out of sync offensively. 3 rushing yards. Igwe Buike has a 22-yard field goal and a 47-yard field goal for Mike Kofer. It's 3-3 with that much time, 6:53 to go in the second. What happens to
are your aircraft carriers, your big play guys like Rice and Craig?
Third down and 7 on the 33. Montana. Down he goes. Kurt Jarvis, the nose tackle. The second sack of the game by the Buccaneers and a loss of 5.
Well, the 49er front line can't run block, and now they're having difficulty keeping the Bucs away from Montana in the pocket. He can dodge 1, he can dodge 2, but Jarvis comes over and makes the play on the third try.
The Buccaneers have reason to celebrate. They have had tremendous pressure all day on Montana.
I'm not sure Jarvis wants that type of celebration, though, from Winston Moss. He got leveled.
So frustrated Joe Montana on the sidelines, and Barry Holton will be kicking to Bobby Futrell. Good high kick. Futrell at the 25. Down at the 31. Kick went 42 yards. But every second that ticks off this clock and the Buccaneers remain in this game, which they are, has got to be a big boost for them. 3-3. We'll be back. Stadium, Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts. The Bucs and the Niners tied 3-3 on a beautiful afternoon in Tampa. First and 10 on the 31 for the Buccaneers. 2 tight ends. Lars Tate. That was not a good pass as Testaverde was under extreme pressure inside by the Niners as we check with scores around the league. Bears leading Minnesota in a titanic battle in the NFC Central. The Lions leading the Giants.
Wow.
Phoenix ahead of Seattle. A very tough road game for the Cardinals, who were victorious last week.
And Houston Oilers having trouble winning on the road again.
Indianapolis over the Rams. Eric Dickerson against John Robinson. They played up that conflict pretty well. Meanwhile, second and 10 on the 31. Tipped at the line, and incomplete is the call. Jim Fonhorst nearly had a big interception for the 49ers.
Yeah, you wonder if he lost it in the sun, because it looked like this ball was in the air for a long time. Try to find out who gets his hands on this one. Somebody in the middle there, and Fonhorst was up in the air, had to come down, and just couldn't quite get his hands underneath it.
We'll try to find out, because that really is the key there, is getting that tip ball.
Especially on a short drop by a quarterback, your chances of getting to him aren't that great. So if you can't get there, get your hands up, try to deflect one.
3rd down and 10. Testaverde has been under a lot of pressure. This pass nearly caught, then intercepted, but Ronnie Lott couldn't hold on. Danny Peebles was the intended receiver, and Ronnie Lott said just didn't work out. He came awfully close.
Testaverde has hit just one of his last 10 passes, and he's been off the mark. Again, he throws this ball high to Peebles in the zone. Once goes up with one hand, and now he kicks the ball out of Lott's hand at the very last second there, or Ronnie Lott had this ball for the interception.
So it is 4th down, and Chris Moore will kick it. He has kept the 49ers well back most of this afternoon. John Taylor on a low kick with a chance to return it, and brings it out to the 38-yard line. So 49ers are not in bad field position at all, considering, and with just under 6 minutes to go in the first half, 49ers and Bucks tied 3-3.
Watch Peebles' left foot knock the ball out of Lott's hands, or this might have been Vinny's first interception of the year. Lott never quite had control of that ball, but he might have.
Well, that may be some of the karate stuff that the Buccaneers, several of their players, have used. George Seifert hoping that offense gets going right now. They have been really off the track. 1st and 10, Montana on the 39. Not much there. Harry Sidney. Keep in mind that the Niners are going to use a lot of Sidney and Flagler because of the heat situation today. Irvin Randall on the stop. 3-3 to score. Igwe with a 22-yard field goal in the first quarter for the Buccaneers. Mike Kofer booted a 47-yarder to tie it up in the second quarter for the 49ers.
You wonder when the 49ers are going to go away from the run and just let Montana throw it every down.
He hooked up with Jerry Rice on a big 40-yard play. They had to settle for a field goal, but that was the most spectacular offensive play of this game. 3 wide receivers, 2nd and 10. Montana nearly intercepted. He threw it right into the hands of Eugene Marv, the inside linebacker. And Montana is really having a rough time. Brent Jones was the intended receiver, but it must be the Tampa Bay defense causing havoc.
Well, what they're doing, Joe in Montana is a rhythm passer. He likes to get back in the pocket, take a couple of steps up, and let go of the ball. The coverage downfield has been so good on the wide receivers of the 49ers that Montana, when he gets back, he doesn't have anybody right away, so he's got to move around in that pocket. He's been getting pressure from the Bucs defensive line, and it's throwing off his rhythm and his timing.
3rd down and 10 on the Niners 39. Avoids a sack and hooks up with Jerry Rice again. The Buccaneers nearly got him for a 3rd time, but he stayed on his feet and hit Jerry Rice with a 23-yard pass and a 1st down into Tampa Bay territory. Hamilton on the stop.
This is why Jerry Rice is the great receiver that he is. He just never quits on the play, running the entire width of the field, waiting for Montana to find him. But Joe does a super job of avoiding the sack by Robert Goff, stays on his feet, shows that at 33 years old, he's still the athlete he was maybe at 23.
1st down on the 38-yard line. 4:52 remaining. Play action. Montana wide open and dropping it is Greer. Terry Greer dropped the wide open pass, but a penalty marker is thrown at the line of scrimmage. Greer, former Canadian League player, was wide open, and this flag will be thrown against San Francisco.
We're seeing all the symptoms of an upset, folks. Penalties, drop balls, motion penalties, holding, everything. 49ers are setting themselves up for a bad day.
Holding. Number 61 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Jesse Sapolo commits the 5th penalty of the day by the 49ers, but it was Terry Greer anyway who dropped the pass.
Well, he was so wide open that he looked up before the ball got there, took his eyes off it, and he's looking to make some extra yardage after the catch.
First down and 20, back to the 48. Flagler and Sidney in the backfield. Here's Terrence Flagler. And he's thrown for a loss back to the 45-yard line. A loss of 3, and it was Urban Randall that time.
No success running up the middle, and now no success running wide, as this is a big loss. Flagler on the weak side sweep, and Randall is in there, beats the block up front, and there's just another bad play for San Francisco.
That defense, the Tampa Bay Bucks have held the 49ers to just 14 yards in 9 carries. That's less than 2 yards a carry. Second down and 27. Back in Niner territory. Montana again in trouble. Another penalty as Joe goes down. Kevin Murphy. Boy, the linebackers are playing a fantastic game for the Buccaneers.
Not only Kevin Murphy that time, but Winston Moss found out that Montana wanted to throw a screen pass. He was standing right in the middle of it. Gave him no other choice but to try to run for it.
And another holding penalty against the Niners. I'd like to be a fly on the wall in the dressing room during the halftime intermission speech.
No, you wouldn't.
Holding. Number 79 offense, penalty decline, 3rd down.
Harris Barton, second penalty against Barton. It's declined, and so we'll have a 3rd down and 29.
In Barton's defense, very tough to find out where your quarterback is when he's scrambling around out there. All of a sudden, the defensive man leaves you. You want to reach out and grab him.
3rd down. Call it 30, just about. Montana airs it out to Jerry Rice, and it's defended out of bounds. Ricky Reynolds covering Jerry Rice. 4th down.
Here's the coverage on Jerry Rice by Ricky Reynolds. First of all, the huge cushion. It's 3rd down and 29 yards to go. One thing that Reynolds wants to guard against is the long bomb, and he was back there in good shape.
Fine defensive play by Reynolds, who had an interception earlier in the game. Reynolds and Rod Jones, both a product of that 1986 draft, taken in the 1st and 2nd rounds, respectively.
And Perkins says that Ricky Reynolds is his best cover guy. He's going to be looking at Rice all day long.
Barry Helton will be kicking. Bobby Futrell goes deep for Tampa Bay. The 15. And Tom Rathman with a tremendous downfield coverage, a 45-yard kick, and once again Vinny Testaverde will have a lot of real estate to cover, but the Bucks hang in there. 3-3 against the Niners. Could mean here, although we have a long way to go.
He's got to be very happy with the way things have gone so far. The scoreboard is even, and the longer that stays that way, the more his young team will feel better about themselves, grow in confidence, and also the 49ers have got to be thinking, hey, this is just like 2 years ago.
Although keep in mind that as well as the Bucks have played and how much the Niners have struggled, the score is still tied. First down on the 14. Testaverde throws behind Willie Drury, the intended receiver. And they've done it on their defense. Certainly Vinny Testaverde, after a kind of a hot start, has slowed considerably, and I'm sure the 49ers are not showing him the same look each time he gets to the line.
Well, the 49ers, exactly right, Dick. They have changed up their defense from that first quarter, and they're not playing nearly as much zone coverage. And Vinny was very good dumping it off, but now the 49ers are coming up on those short dump offs, forcing him to go down the field, and his receivers are getting open, but he's been off the mark.
Second down and 10 at the 14. Testaverde. Incomplete. Drury, the intended receiver, former Houston Oiler, was covered by Darryl Pollard. That'll be third down, and Testaverde has now completed only one of his last 12 attempts.
And his throwing motion looks like he's wishing the ball over there, hoping that somebody will catch it. Here, guys, help me out. He knows better than anybody in the stadium that he's having a tough time now, that he has only completed one of his last 11.
Going with the white jerseys, and a lot of people, of course, made, as he said, too much of the color blindness issue. Last week, Green Bay forced Tampa Bay to wear the orange, and Testaverde had a near-perfect game.
But that was Green Bay. These are the Niners.
I noticed. Well, at least we hope we notice soon. Third down and 10. Testaverde. He won't get the first down, and he is knocked by Jeff Fuller. You don't want to get hit by Fuller.
Or any of those defensive backs, especially Fuller and Lott and Chet Brooks. They can really tag you. Testaverde comes up a little bit short of that first down. We got another punt.
It's been a punter's duel today between Barry Helton and Chris Moore, and both have risen to the occasion.
You almost wonder if they're going to get fatigued out here. That would be a first, wouldn't it? A punter getting tired?
John Taylor goes back for the 49ers. 2 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the first half. Tied at 3. Punters are still doing their jobs. Taylor at the 28. But a good return, and John Taylor is stopped at the 43. A 15-yard return by John Taylor. Coming up at halftime, Brandon Erb with all the scores and highlights and information in this second week of the NFL season. 2:46 remaining in the second quarter. The Fortman split backs on the 43. Under pressure, completes the pass to Craig out of the backfield, and he gets about 2, if that much. Urban Randall again, Johnny on the spot.
And again, great pressure from the Bucs front line. Curtis Jarvis really leveled Montana after he got rid of that one.
What a difference a week makes. A week ago, the 49ers chalked up 404 yards against the Colts in total yardage. Today, they have just reached the 100 mark.
And a great balance last week also. 204 yards passing last week, 200 rushing today. And
riconoscimento assegnato dalla Intrepid Foundation e della Columbus Foundation ai leader che si distinguono nel mondo per la difesa della libertà e della democrazia. Berlusconi riceve il riconoscimento che fu assegnato tra gli altri a Rabin, Yeltsin, Clinton e Reagan a bordo della portaerei Intrepid che solcò il Pacifico nella seconda guerra mondiale e che oggi è stata trasformata in una nave museo alla fonda nelle acque di New York. Il premier parla di libertà, di quel bene, sottolinea, senza il quale non può esisterne alcun altro. Senza libertà, aggiunge, non c'è democrazia. L'Europa, continua, dovrà essere al fianco degli Stati Uniti per portare nel mondo il vento della libertà.
Testaverde throws behind Willie Drury, the intended receiver. And they've done it on their defense. Certainly, Vinny Testaverde, after a kind of a hot start, has slowed considerably, and I'm sure the 49ers are not showing him the same look each time he gets to the line.
Well, the 49ers, exactly right, Dick. They have changed up their defense from that first quarter, and they're not playing nearly as much zone coverage. And Vinny was very good dumping it off, but now the 49ers are coming up on those short dump offs, forcing him to go down the field, and his receivers are getting open, but he's been off the mark.
Second down and 10 at the 14. Testaverde. Incomplete. Drury, the intended receiver, former Houston Oiler, was covered by Darryl Pollard. That'll be third down, and Testaverde has now completed only one of his last 12 attempts.
And his throwing motion looks like he's wishing the ball over there, hoping that somebody will catch it. Here, guys, help me out. He knows better than anybody in the stadium that he's having a tough time now, that he has only completed one of his last 11.
Going with the white jerseys, and a lot of people, of course, made, as he said, too much of the color blindness issue. Last week, Green Bay forced Tampa Bay to wear the orange, and Testaverde had a near-perfect game.
But that was Green Bay. These are the Niners.
I noticed. Well, at least we hope we notice soon. 3rd down and 10. Testaverde. Don't get the first down, and he is knocked by Jeff Fuller. You don't want to get hit by Fuller.
Or any of those defensive backs, especially Fuller and Lott and Chet Brooks. They can really tag you. Testaverde comes up a little bit short of that first down. We got another punt.
It's been a punter's duel today between Barry Helton and Chris Moore, and both have risen to the occasion.
You almost wonder if they're going to get fatigued out here. That would be a first, wouldn't it? A punter getting tired?
John Taylor goes back for the 49ers. 2 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the first half. Tied at 3. Punters are still doing their jobs. Taylor at the 28. But a good return, and John Taylor is stopped at the 43. A 15-yard return by John Taylor. Coming up at halftime, Brandon Erb with all the scores and highlights and information in this second week of the NFL season. 2:46 remaining in the second quarter. The Fourthman split backs on the 43. Under pressure, completes the pass to Craig out of the backfield, and he gets about 2, if that much. Urban Randall again, Johnny on the spot.
And again, great pressure from the Bucs front line. Curtis Jarvis really leveled Montana after he got rid of that one.
What a difference a week makes. A week ago, the 49ers chalked up 404 yards against the Colts in total yardage. Today, they have just reached the 100 mark.
And a great balance last week also. 204 yards passing last week, 200 rushing. Today, another story.
He has Rice, and it's caught at the 40-yard line of Tampa Bay, and a first down for the Niners. Ricky Reynolds makes the stop, and a gain of 15 yards. And now the 2-minute warning is upon us. Jerry Rice has caught 4 balls for over 80 yards. So a timeout with the score tied 3-3. 2-minute warning as Joe Montana talks things over with George Seifert and company. First down on the Tampa Bay 40. Here's Craig. And again, no dice. As the 49ers have rushed for less than 2 yards a carry in this first half. Reuben Davis, the defensive left end, making the tackle. Former North Carolina Tar Heel, who's opposing Harris Barton, another Tar Heel, and a hurry-up offense now by the Niners. 2nd and 11 at the 41. Play fake, and Montana sees an opening. And once again, he has to curtail it as Kevin Murphy came forging in on him, and he is down at the 35. And another timeout called by the 49ers. It's got to be above that now, even though it's later in the day.
Yeah, the sun has stayed out, and Montana has had these 3 rushes, as we see, but also he's been back in that pocket. He's had to move around a lot in the pocket, has been knocked down a number of times. Believe me, getting knocked down takes as much out of you sometimes as running a sprint all by yourself.
3rd down and 5 on the Buccaneers 35. 1:24 remaining in the first half. Montana's pass is caught and then dropped. Incomplete. And now they say he might have held on to it. Mike Wilson made the reception. Rod Jones was covering, and he had made the catch. And they'll line it up at the 20, a gain of 16 to the veteran wide receiver. Clock is running. And they're going to look at it.
Yeah, they are. The 49ers almost got away with one. They're going to the quick offense, getting up on the ball and getting it snapped, but they're going to take a look at this. I think that's a good call.
Chuck Heberling is the replay official. Bob Best, and you see Bob Best's head there above those television monitors, is the communicator. Jack Reeder is the observer today.
I'd be interested in seeing this because from our vantage point, which is not very good, it looked like it was incomplete.
I would tend to agree with you. It did not look like Wilson.
Play stands as ruled. Completed pass, first down.
But the replay look, I guess, was not convincing enough for them to make a change. In any event, for the 49ers, a chance to break this tie. They have a 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line, and the clock running. To go to his tight end, Brent Jones. Whatever the Buccaneers are doing, they're certainly knocking Montana out of sync in this first half.
One thing you got to do against any quarterback is put pressure on him. That's the best pass defense. The Bucs are able to get that today by playing zone in the secondary. So what they're doing is they're making it tough for guys to work downfield, but also they're getting enough heat from their front line on Montana to keep him from completing anything.
2nd down and 10. 4 wide receivers for the 49ers. Roger Craig can't get away. And a great shoe-top tackle by Henry Rolling, a linebacker. The clock continues to run. Less than a half a minute to go, and the 49ers, with 1 timeout left, lining up in a hurry. They are already in field goal range. Montana going for Rice, incomplete. Once again, good coverage by Tampa Bay. Ricky Reynolds again. He's had a tough assignment today. He's done it well.
Well, he knew coming in that this is the guy that gives all defensive backs nightmares. Ricky Reynolds believes that he's the best corner on the football team, and he is up to the challenge today.
Even though Rice has caught 4 passes for a bunch, Reynolds has kept him in the ballpark, and this will be a 32-yard field goal attempt. Barry Helton will hold for Coker. And the kick is good, and the 49ers have taken the lead for the first time today with 9 seconds remaining in the half. Cofer with a 32-yard field goal.
Nice job by Montana engineering that drive to get the 49ers in position for that field goal. And the 49ers, although they were probably disappointed they didn't get a touchdown, at least they have the lead going into the second half.
And Cofer is 5 for 5 so far in this young season, including the 47-yarder to put him on the scoreboard earlier in the second quarter. Tampa Stadium, hot. Joe Montana trying to get as cool as he can get.
And he's pretty cool, isn't he? A lot of quarterbacks would have rushed that last series there, but he knew exactly how much time he had. He knew he had 1 timeout remaining. Just a real class quarterback, and he's really enjoying that breeze from that air conditioner right now. That's Steve Bono, the inactive quarterback for the 49ers. Joe keeping his sense of humor there. You see that.
He's managed to do that. And I think the 49ers have a lot of incentive. They say teams have trouble repeating, but with George Seifert, I think the 49ers want to prove that they can win with a different coach.
That's the big thing. They really want to prove it. When you ask people about the comparison of George Seifert and Bill Walsh, one of the interesting ones that I heard this week is that George is more of a player's coach, that George is the type of guy that you'd go fishing with. Bill Walsh, well, he's more the tennis type. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Just a different type.
You do both. Cofer kicking off to Donnie Elder. Elder at the 10. And Elder gets out of bounds with 3 seconds showing on the clock. Darryl Pollard on the stop. Elder almost broke one. Returned to 29 yards, and there you see time for one more play, and Ray Perkins sending it in with Vinny Testaverde right here.
And you know, he had to tell him, hey, listen, just throw it as far as you can and don't worry about the interception. Let's see if we can get one.
1 of his last 12 completed. He would have told Ray Perkins that your quarterback will be 1 for his last 12 and you'll go into the dressing room down by 3 and say that's not a bad deal.
His defense is winning it, or keeping him in it so far.
They load the right side. 3 wide receivers. 1 at the top. There it goes. And let's see if the pass was intercepted or knocked down. Ronnie Lott was there. In any event, that is the end of the first half. Ronnie Lott did make the interception. The score, the 49ers 6, the Buccaneers 3.
CBS.
Have somebody play him man-to-man and then bring a safety over the top or in and out. You just can't play this man single coverage or in a very soft zone like the Bucs have tried to do today.
First down and 10 on the 20. Flag down, and so is Joe. Kevin Murphy. Penalty marker down. Murphy already had 1 of the 3 sacks by the Buccaneers against Montana. And slow getting up is Reuben Davis, the defensive end. He's hurting. Gordon McCarter, our referee today, and the penalty appears to be against the 49ers.
And it would appear that the Bucs would be smart to refuse this penalty and just take the sack for the loss of yardage instead of giving the 49ers a 1st and 20. Now that would be better if they were like 2nd and 17 or so. That's what they're talking about.
Holding, 61 offense, penalty declined, 2nd down.
Jesse Sapolo and Reuben Davis leaves the field.
Jesse Sapolo is number 61 here, right in the middle of the screen, and he's going to bring down Curtis Jarvis right there, and he gets called for the penalty.
A loss of 6 yards, and they took the yardage, as you pointed out. It'll be 2nd down and 16 as John Cannon replaces Reuben Davis at left defensive end for the Buccaneers. Ball back on the 14. Double tight ends for the 49ers. Montana with a slant pass intended for Rice. Incomplete. It's been a rough day for Joe Montana, who has been under pressure, it seems, from the start. He's been sacked 4 times, hurried 8, knocked down on 3 other occasions, and of course the 1 interception.
You know, as an ex-quarterback, I see that statistic, hurries. I don't know if there's a quarterback that has ever played this game that didn't feel that every pass he didn't throw, he wasn't hurried on, whether he was so quote-unquote hurried or not.
Well, some of you didn't take just 3-step drops. Broderick Thomas, the rookie from Nebraska, who saw action in the first half, number 51. Rushing linebacker in there now on 3rd down and 16. Flag down. Montana completes it to Rice. Close to 1st down yardage, but there's a flag back down in the backfield. Donnie Elder makes the stop on Rice. And it'll be against the 49ers again. Penalties have really hurt him. That's the 6th this afternoon. Broderick Thomas, who wanted to play badly, it's come out at 7 o'clock in the morning to get work. He was a late signee, the number 1 pick out of Nebraska.
And I just kind of jokingly asked him yesterday, were you named after Broderick Crawford? And he says, as a matter of fact, my mother named me after Broderick Crawford. She's a big fan of the TV show Highway Patrol, and here he is. He's got that name.
And he did not want to hang around on the bench, wanted to play, and now he's getting his chance. He appeared in some goal line situations last week against Green Bay.
That's the great thing about competition. Winston Moss has got that outside linebacker position.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 77 offense. Penalty declined. 4th down.
Bubba Paris, 4th down.
We'll take a look at it from the right side of our screen. Big Bubba, number 77, working on the outside. And he pushes away, and Gordon McCarter, the referee, is right there to make the call.
Big Bubba, who's been playing the left tackle spot. Steve Wallace, who was the starter in the Super Bowl game, coming back from injury. Working his way back, was also a late show. Bobby Futrell goes back, and Barry Helton will kick for the Niners. Opening minutes of the second half, 6-3, San Francisco to score. Nearly blocked by Don Smith. Here's Futrell. And he is wrestled down at the 45 of Tampa Bay. 9-yard return and tempers flare. It's hot on the field. It's hot under the collar for both teams. But the Buccaneers will have ideal field position when we return. For the Buccaneers, although Vinny Testaverde has completed only one of his last 13 passes, trying to get going offensively that way, as the Buccaneers begin from their best starting field position of the game, their own 45. First down, and they start on the ground. William Howard, no gain there. Michael Carter, the huge nose tackle, who's had that hamstring problem right there.
That's a pretty good battle right up front there in the middle of the field. Randy Grimes going against Michael Carter, two old pros there, and this guy just cannot be blocked single by one man like Bubba Grimes. It's like covering Jerry Rice with just one defensive back.
Great when you have those great players with the ability. Second down and 10. Testaverde dumps it off a little too dramatically to Howard. Just dumped it onto the ground. I don't think Howard ever had a chance at that one.
This is really a case of a quarterback struggling. Here's a fellow that has probably as fine a throwing motion as you'll ever see, but when he's not feeling comfortable, not feeling confident about the way things are going, it affects his entire game.
Well, he threw 35 interceptions a year ago. Ray Perkins said half of them were his fault, half mine, and he hasn't thrown one yet this season. Except, yeah, let's count Ronnie Lott at the end of the half. Third down and 10. He'll run, and he should make the first down. Testaverde gets into 49er territory to the 40. 15 yards. Larry Roberts brought him down.
Oh, it's nice to be young and strong and be able to run the ball, and Testaverde can do it very well. We've seen him run a couple of times today. The Niners are in man coverage in the secondary, and there's no one playing the short zone over the middle. That opens it up in a nice 15-yard gain.
You were once young and strong.
But never a runner.
You take your life in your hands when you do that. So a first down. Vinny's been running today, averaging 7 yards a shot. They sent Large Tate wide to the right. Pass is caught by the tight end, Ron Hall, and another first down for the Buccaneers. 22 yards. Jim Fawnhorst.
Yeah, we'll take a look from the end zone. This is Hall on the right side of our screen here. Fawnhorst is in coverage, but he has his back to Testaverde, and this is the best pass Testaverde has thrown all day. Nice touch ball, got it up over the linebacker's head, right into Hall's hands. First down, big play for the Bucs.
Precision offense for Perkins. Hasn't put a lot of points on there, but with the score 6-3, the Buccaneers are threatening. Hall has caught 4 passes today. First down on the 18 of San Francisco. Sylvester Stamps. Ronnie Lott wrestles him down, but the forward motion will carry him out to about the 16-yard line.
Nice tackle by Ronnie Lott. If he doesn't come up and make this play, Stamps may have a touchdown. But you've seen this so many times with Ronnie Lott coming out of that secondary and coming up to make the play on a very elusive running back. Stamps gives the Bucs the little elusiveness in their backfield. He is a kick returner by trade, and he just can't get away from the strong grip of Ronnie Lott.
Second down and 8. Testaverde swings it out to Stamps, but Jim Fawnhorst wraps him up, and they're going to lose a few yards on that play.
And you noticed Fawnhorst wasn't even all that interested in throwing Stamps to the ground. That's the effect this heat and humidity has on a football player. Watch Fawnhorst, number 55. He's going to sniff out this screen pass right now. Comes up, the ball's a little bit high, so that hurts Stamps. But now they just get into a bear hug. Well, I think I got him good enough. Blow the whistle, ref. Thank you.
I had enough. That was a 4-yard loss. Brings up 3rd and 12. Willie Drury is the third wide receiver on the 20-yard line. Testaverde can't get away, and he was in the grass back at the 25 by Daniel Stubbs and Charles Haley, two good pass rushers, and another loss, that time for 6 yards. So the Niners got to Testaverde and Stamps for losses of 10 yards in the last 2 plays.
And you just cannot afford to take a sack in this part of the field on third down, because what it does is it makes that field goal kicker now, instead of kicking about a 28-yarder or so, he's backed up now 4 or 6 more yards. So this is a little more difficult for Igwebuike.
44-yard attempt. Igwebuike's kick is perfect. A 44-yard field goal by Igwebuike, and it is a field goal derby today, tied at 6. World champion 49ers are in a struggle here with 9:32 to go in the third quarter in a battle of field goal kickers, tied at 6. And Ray Perkins talking to Vinny Testaverde, who hasn't had a spectacular passing day, but the Tampa Bay defense has kept them in the game plus, and we're tied at 6 as Donald Igwebuike, who has kicked 2 field goals, gets set to boot it. Spencer Tillman will down it in the end zone for a touchback, and the Niners will bring it out to the 20. Well, Joe Montana will try to bring out the 49ers, and his alma mater, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, will go against Michigan State next Saturday. CFA football on CBS beginning at 2:30 Eastern. Rocket Ismail, what a great day against Michigan yesterday.
Yeah, 2 long kickoff returns. Fantastic after
Dame and the Rocket next Saturday. First down at the 20. Play fake, and the pass is caught. And now they say incomplete. John Taylor, the intended receiver. It is incomplete. Good coverage.
Yeah, Montana's trying to get it into the seam of the zone on the play action here. Number 39, Harry Hamilton, isn't fooled at all. And this is really fine coverage also by number 29, Ricky Reynolds again. Hamilton and Reynolds.
Yep. Second down and 10. Reynolds has the busy afternoon of defending Rice most of the time. On second down, pass up the middle to Brent Jones, the tight end. Down at the 25 by Eugene Marv. And it was Rathman and not Jones on the receiving end. It'll be third down and 5.
49ers are going to a quicker passing game now. The offensive line has had trouble protecting Montana on deeper drops in the pocket. That time it was just a 5-step drop, and Rathman's a little shaken up as he comes off the field after that play.
It'll be third down, and they mark it at 4 as Rathman comes out and Harry Sidney replaces him. Scores. A lot of high-scoring games today around the league. Not here. 3 wide receivers, including Mike Wilson. And Wilson can't hold on. Bobby Futrell defending on the play, and it's 4th down for the Niners.
This is what George Seifert talked about, the snowball effect, how you stop things from going bad. This is insult. This is actually injury to insult. Watch Montana get slapped in the face. That might have been a penalty called there against Reuben Davis. But the bad thing that happened is that Montana threw a perfect pass, and Wilson couldn't make the grab and pick up the first down.
I've never heard it put quite that way.
You've never felt it either.
Barry Helton kicking the Futrell. Kick, he gets it away amazingly. Penalty marker is down. Futrell returning it. We may have an ineligible man downfield as a result of that mix-up there, and Chet Brooks makes the stop. I don't know how Helton got the ball off anyway, and that's the call.
Yeah, you can't really blame the offensive lineman, because they feel they have a certain timing that the ball gets back to the punter and he kicks it. There's Brooks on the ground, and this will really hurt the 49ers secondary. They don't have enough healthy bodies back there.
Ineligible downfield, number 60 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 4th down. Injury timeout.
It is the center, Chuck Thomas, And you can't really blame him because he figures that the kick is going to go off.
And he had a couple of buddies with him because there's about 6 guys that were down early.
But you're right about Brooks, with Eric Wright inactive because of his groin injury and Tim McKyer not seeing any action with a couple of hurts. Now Chet Brooks, the strong safety, leads the game.
That's a good sign, though, jogging off the field. Maybe he just got his bell rung a little bit there. I'm sure we'll see him back in the game. His legs look fine and everything. But again, another symptom of a team that's priming themselves to get beat here. The 49ers letting the Bucs get in, almost blocking that punt.
Here's Helton kicking again. No rush on by the Buccaneers. Good kick, too. Futrell back at his 30. Ran into his own man and is down at the 42-yard line. That was a 50-yard kick. Sam Ano up front banged into him, and Chuck Thomas made the stop. 8:07 remaining in the third quarter. Because it is cloudy now. The sun has taken away some of the heat, but it's a toll-taking thing, Dan, I would think.
Well, the humidity is what the 49ers are feeling right now.
1st and 10, Buccaneers on their 42-yard line. William Howard trips just a yard short of midfield, but gets good yardage anyway.
And it's not so much that the 49ers aren't used to the humidity. You know, there's a lot of humidity in that fog in San Francisco, but the temperature's around 50 or 60 degrees. When you add that 70-80% humidity to this 90-degree temperature, well, you really got something.
And of course, you got to keep in mind that a lot of these defensive players signed late. They've been injured. They don't have their legs yet, and that could be an effect. 2nd down and 5. Testaverde's pass is caught by Mark Carrier. That's the first reception of the game for Mark Carrier. Don Griffin on the stop, and it's a 1st down for Tampa Bay.
This is Carrier working against Don Griffin on the outside, just a simple down and out pattern. And Testaverde appears to be gaining confidence in his throwing motion and his throwing arm. That ball was a little bit behind Carrier, but a whole lot closer than some of the passes he's thrown today.
Carrier has really moved to the forefront as the top wide receiver. Bruce Hill another one, but Carrier may be their best. 1st down on the Niner 42. Pass intended for that other wide receiver, Bruce Hill, incomplete. Darrell Pollard on the stop, and right now for a report, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Kick at the Meadowlands.
For an Odessa Turner against the Redskins last week, and the Giants try to make it 2-0.
Turner looks like a real good one, doesn't he? Great running ability after the catch, also in good size.
2nd down and 10. Sylvester Stamps in the lineup. Number 24 for the Bucs. And the pass is caught, led perfectly, Carrier. Pollard on the tackle, and a fine leading pass. Good for 20 yards from Testaverde.
Oh, you talked about Carrier really coming on. He's a clutch receiver for these guys now. This is double coverage here, and this is a perfect throw by Testaverde and a difficult grab having to go down. But Carrier is one of those guys that's taken up karate in the offseason. He feels that it's increased his confidence as an athlete. Better balance, better quickness, better eye-hand coordination. You saw a great example of that right there.
He's a green belt right now. Hopes to get better. 1st and 10 at the 22 of the Niners. Here comes the blitz. Testaverde. He saw the blitz coming, and his pass to Peoples is incomplete. And that'll bring up 2nd down.
That's the difference between an experienced quarterback like Montana and an inexperienced quarterback like Testaverde. You see the blitz coming, you know it's coming, but the ability to just have the patience to deliver the ball to the receiver and make the big play is the difference. And the only way you get that is through experience. Montana's been in the league for, what, 11 years or so. This is Vinny's 3rd. He's going to get that experience.
And don't forget, he came to a team that was also young, so he has to grow with the rest of his teammates. That makes it tougher for him.
And they're growing a lot today.
On the delay, Stamps gets hit by one defender. He's a little guy, but it's taken a few Niners to bring him down. And finally, Michael Carter finds the secret.
Well, they call him Mighty Mouse. He's only 5'7", but he weighs 180 pounds, and you can see he's well put together. nice big thighs there that gives you the power to break some of those tackles.
Scores of games underway now. Brent brought you up to date on the Giants-Detroit score. Chet Brooks, who came out of the game a little while ago, is back in there now, replacing Jeff Fuller. Testaverde up the middle. And he overthrows Danny Peebles. That'll bring up 4th down. Jeff Fuller covering, and Igwebuike will come in to try to untie the deadlock.
Testaverde failed on this drive to make the big play, hitting the receiver when he was open. That time Peebles was clear in the back of the end zone. Testaverde hurried his throw and didn't get the completion. And now he's getting a lesson.
36-yard attempt coming up. Chris Moore, the punter, will hold. Igwebuike, perfect today. This one, too, is perfect. 36-yard field goal by Donald Igwebuike. No longer called Donald Kicker by the coach. He knows his name now, and the Buccaneers lead the Niners. In the 3rd quarter, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers spinning an upset right now over the 49ers. 9-6, 8 plays, 40 yards. Igwebuike with a 36-yard field goal. And he will now kick off to the Niners. Going deep for them, Terrence Flagler on the left, Spencer Tillman, number 23. Good kick again in the end zone, and again down for the touchback. Terrence Flagler couldn't get a handle.
Now they've been ripping Igwebuike, saying that he can't kick off deep. Well, today he's done a super job of putting the 49ers deep before they can run it out, and they've had to down it a number of times. 80 yards is a long way to go on any drive, but it's even longer when you add the weather conditions we have today.
He's been helped somewhat by the wind, but he'll take it.
Hey, you start on your 20-yard line every time. That's 80 yards before you get in the end zone. 49ers haven't been able to do it yet today.
Mike Barber, number 86, is in the game at wide receiver for San Francisco. Montana on the rollout, and wide open is Roger Craig, and a good pickup to the 40. Harry Hamilton on the stop, and a 20-yard pass on 1st down.
This is where you're going to see a championship football team respond to the challenge. The 49ers have dug a big enough hole for themselves today that they trail in this ball game, but they have so much character. They work so hard, and it's the trickle-down theory. Their stars work hard. Montana works hard. Craig, Rice, everybody on that team tries to maintain that level of...
That was their first down this half. Here's Roger Craig. And he has run for another 1st down into Tampa Bay territory. Pick up of 14 yards before Mark Robinson makes the stop, and the 49ers are rolling. Only 20 yards today after a brilliant 131-yard performance last week against the Colts.
But on this drive, he's helped the 49ers move it 34 yards in just 2 plays.
On the 46 of Tampa Bay. No gain. Urban Randall, what a game he's played at inside linebacker today for the Bucs.
Which Buck linebacker hasn't? Moss has been in the backfield. Randall, Eugene Marv. Here's a look at the pits here. Good control by the Bucs off defensive line there. You saw Reuben Davis working there, opening the hole for Randall to plug up, and he got to Rathman.
2nd down and 9. There's Rice in the slot in motion, and Montana has Rathman. And Rathman slides for a couple of more yards, still short of a 1st down by about 2. Kevin Murphy on the hit.
He made the hit, but Rathman bounced off him and picked up about 4 more yards, showing his desire. You know, we talk about the 49ers being tired. Well, these fellas in the white shirts have got to be feeling it a little bit too. They played nice, cool Green Bay last week.
Keep in mind that their growth is going to be measured on if they could ever beat a team like the 49ers. 3rd down and 2 on the 38. Roger Craig is stopped short for no gain. Murphy again. And a penalty marker is down. So let's wait. It'll go against the Niners. And will be declined.
Well, this will bring up an interesting decision. Do you want to bring up a 4th down and force the 49ers to punt now, thinking that there's no way they'll go for the 1st down on 4th down, or will you take the penalty?
Holding, 62 offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
Guy McIntyre was the holder there.
I think that you do not want to give Joe Montana another play in any event, and maybe they will go for it here, and apparently they will, but it's 4th down. They've got to make it here with 3 to go.
This is a great call by George Seifert. He had a controversial one last week where he took points off the scoreboard. That turned out good for him. Let's see what happens with this one.
Play fake. Montana will run. He's got the 1st down and a few extra down the sidelines. Joe Montana has run for the 1st down on 4th down and 3. Picks up 13 to keep the Niner rally going.
The old bootleg play. The Bucs are in an all-out blitz. There is Kevin Murphy, number 59, who made the play previously. Montana gets out around him and now picks up 13 big yards. Gutty call, having your old pro quarterback carry the ball, but he's been their best runner all day.
He has gained 37 yards on 4 sprints. Good numbers. Double tight end for San Francisco. 1st down at the Buccaneers, 26. Here's Craig. A yard, that's all. Just about 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Kurt Jarvis, the nose tackle, and Eugene Marv in on the play. 9-6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lead. Game of field goals.
They had a game of field goals 11 years ago, these two. Where is Wershing anyway?
2nd down and 9. Montana swings it out to Sidney. And Sidney is downed at the 21-yard line by Ricky Reynolds. And right now the 49ers have reached their deepest penetration of this ball game. Again, a great testimony to the Tampa Bay defense as Randall and Sapolo exchange pleasantries.
Well, this is what Perkins wanted the Bucs to do, make the 49ers drive the length of the field. They started this drive on their 20-yard line. Now they're down inside the 25, so they're doing a good job, but they are getting tired. The Bucs now are making a lot of substitutions, taking out some of their tired linebackers. You saw Murphy that time couldn't make the tackle on Harry Sidney.
Roderick Thomas, the rookie, is back in there out of Nebraska. 3rd and 6. Montana's pass caught by the tight end Brent Jones, and that'll be good for a San Francisco 1st down. Stopped by Mark Robinson.
This is a super job by Montana finding Brent Jones working against number 40, Donnie Elder, the nickelback, right over the middle. Perfect throw away from the defensive coverage, and it's a 1st down for the 49ers.
And the 49ers, as Brent Jones goes to the sidelines, will be in no hurry, and then they are going to start the other way as the final seconds tick off in this 3rd quarter. But the fans have been treated to a close, hard-fought game at least through 3. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Bucs 9, the Niners 6. We now pause for a word from your local station. The 4th quarter with the Buccaneers leading the 49ers 9-6, but San Francisco threatening. 1st down on the Bucs 13-yard line. Roger Craig still going and gets down to the 1. Tremendous power by Craig. A tackle by Harry Hamilton. Time of possession is very close to even as the 49ers held the ball for the last 5 minutes of the third quarter.
Well, and Perkins told us he wanted three things to happen: for his offense to be conservative, his defense to play patiently, not come up and blitz the 49ers, and he wanted the time of possession to be even for them to have any kind of chance. But I tell you one thing, you're not going to hold down the 49ers front line and Roger Craig all day.
Two tight ends for the Niners, first and goal at the 1. Fumbled. He also fumbled. Tampa Bay recovers. Henry Rolling recovered it for the Bucs.
We'll take a look and see who gets this hit on Craig. He gets hit right in the middle of the defensive line here. There's Robert Goff, number 94, and that might be Irvin Randall and Ricky Reynolds. He's coming up with big plays in the secondary, makes a big play on the goal line. Good penetration for the Bucs defensive line as they take one side. You won't see this very often, a fumble from Roger Craig as he's about to go into the end zone. It's Ricky Reynolds' right shoulder right on the ball. That pops it loose.
And number 55, Henry Rolling, dove in and picked up the loose ball. And so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They're reviewing this right now to see if Roger Craig might have got in the end zone, broke the plane before the fumble. But evidently, the replay official said no.
What do you think the reaction would have been here after that?
I wouldn't want to see it.
On the 1-yard line, Vinny Testaverde with 99 yards to go, and Lars Tate carries it out for a yard, and Jim Fonhorst on the stop.
This is goal line offense the other way. The same plays you run as you're trying to get into the end zone from the 1-yard line are the plays that you run trying to get out of the end zone from the 1-yard line. Same type of play. This time Fonhorst comes up, makes the big play on Lars Tate.
As you pointed out, they looked at the replay. They verified there was a fumble. He did not cross the plane. Meanwhile, following a 1-yard gain, it'll be 2nd down and 8 at the 3. James Wilder, the veteran, who's now just a spot player. Number 32 is in the backfield for the Bucs. Out towards the 4-yard line is William Howard. It'll be 3rd down now.
And now we're going to get a look at Testaverde in a very high pressure situation, and how much confidence Perkins has will be shown in what type of play he calls here. Will he have Testaverde go back in the end zone and throw the ball, or will they run another play and kick the ball back to the 49ers if they don't pick up the 1st down? One thing's for sure, they're going to have to hurry. The 30-second clock is running down.
They're bringing in their wide receivers, Mark Carrier and Bruce Hill, on 3rd down and 6 at the 5-yard line. The pitch to William Howard, and he's not going to make it. They try to sweep with William Howard, the 250-pound fullback, and Keena Turner came in and make the stop.
That shows you two things. That shows you the respect that the Bucs have for the 49er defense, and also a lack of confidence in Testaverde's ability to complete a pass. Just a simple flip back to the fullback Howard, and the 49ers are spread out, and there's just no way the Bucs were going to get a 1st down with that play.
So Chris Moore has nowhere to go behind him. John Taylor is in Tampa Bay territory awaiting this kick. Taylor at the 39 of the Bucs. Don Smith grabs him at the 32. 35-yard kick, but that's not a bad kick by Moore, who really didn't have much room to roam.
The important thing is that he got it off and it wasn't blocked.
Sylvester Stamps made the tackle. 70-63. Roger Craig has been held to only 31 rushing yards. Igwe Buike, the difference with that 3rd field goal, and it's 9-6 Niners with plenty of time remaining in the fourth quarter. But again, Tampa Bay's defense is under the gun now with good field position by San Francisco.
But you get the feeling that the momentum is all 49ers right now. Great field position to start a drive.
And their best starting position of the game, the 32 of Tampa Bay. Play fake. Montana. Rathman. And he's wrapped up at the 30 by Kevin Murphy. He's made 8 tackles today and a gain of only 2.
Montana wanted to go deep that time to Rice on a post pattern, but the Bucs would have none of it. They played a deep zone, and he comes off to his underneath coverage. That's just a lot of fine experience. And Rathman showing that he has improved as a receiver out of the backfield.
He's caught 6 passes today. Now 7. Second down and 8 at the 30. On a reverse, here's Jerry Rice with Sapolo blocking. And Rice will pick up a first down for the 49ers to the 20. Reynolds on the stop, and a good place for that 12-yard gain.
Well, you said that Sapolo was blocking. He certainly was, but the old guy, Joe Montana, is blocking also. There you see Joe with the kick-out block on Winston Moss, and that really sprung Rice for the gain. So it was 61 and 16 working in tandem that time.
Rice comes to the sidelines along with Rathman. 3 wide receivers for the 49ers. First and 10 at the Tampa Bay 20. Here's Craig. And another great play by the linebacker. This time it was the strong safety, though, Mark Robinson, former Kansas City Chief, who gives a young secondary good experience.
And he plays like a linebacker against that run. He came up that time. Craig gave him the old swivel hips. Robinson stayed with it, made the tackle. Go Giants. Now people think, well, but Dan, you live in San Diego, but I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I would love to see nothing more than a Bay Area series.
You may just see just that. Second and 10. Harry Sidney is the running back. Montana. And the pass is caught in a crowd. And the completion to Brent Jones.
We were on the 49ers offensive line in that first half for their pass protection blocking and their run blocking. Right now, they are taking control of the line of scrimmage and giving Montana time to throw.
So there are 2 aspects to this game. One is the conditioning, which affects both clubs, maybe San Francisco as much. The other is the class of being a champion. Sooner or later, they take over.
Well, pride factor in the 49ers. They know they should win this ball game. And if they're going to be champions, they have got to tell the Bucs right now, listen, we're the world champs. We're going to beat you right now.
5 new players came in for Tampa Bay defensively on 3rd down and 6. Montana passes, and Jerry Rice has caught the ball inside the 5 for a first down. A great catch by Jerry Rice, good for 13 yards. He had some of the equipment moved from his shoulder, and Harry Hamilton on the stop.
And he's calling for a breather, but Joe Montana continues to be the player of this game, throwing on the run, and this is a perfect strike as Rice reaches back with those big hands of his and makes a big catch. And again, the 49ers are inside the 5. But Joe Montana is making the plays.
Rice has gone over the 100-yard mark in receptions for the 2nd straight game. 6 catches, 109 yards. First and goal at the 2. Double tight end. And now Montana wants a timeout.
And you know, all his offensive linemen are saying, thank you, Joe. It's not that important that we get in the end zone right now. Use one of those timeouts. And really a smart quarterback, obviously.
Well, the last time the 49ers got this close, Roger Craig coughed it up on the 1.
Big hit by Ricky Reynolds. Popped that ball loose. Tired offensive lineman out there.
First and goal at the 2. They're using 2 tight ends. John Taylor wants a refreshment.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the 49ers fake the ball to Craig up the middle and perhaps throw the ball. Rice is coming back into the the lineup now, and he is so effective in this situation, so much more unique than a lot of teams' goal line offense. They leave in their star receiver for two reasons. Obviously, he's a great receiver. He gives the quarterback a plane to throw the ball in above the defensive back, but he also is willing to stick his nose in there and block for you.
And I wonder whether they'll give it to Craig anyway to let him get over this time. We'll see. Montana throws wide open, touchdown to Jerry Rice. That's why you use Rice in a goal line situation. Touchdown, and the Niners lead with 8:31 to go in the fourth quarter.
Take a look at Jerry Rice in motion before the ball is snapped. Now he'll work free in the end zone, and he'll work free deep in the end zone. No Tampa Bay Buck anywhere near him, and Montana throws him a perfect pass for the touchdown. And the very familiar Joe Montana reaction. Yeah, you betcha.
And about time, he must be saying. Mike Kofer with the point after touchdown. And the kick is good. And it's 13-9 in favor of the San Francisco 49ers for Jerry Rice. Another touchdown reception. Bay Bucks 13-9, 8.5 to go. The big play, as you look at the scoring drive, was a third down, 13-yard reception from Montana to Rice that set up the Rice touchdown reception. And now Mike Kofer will be kicking.
Okay, they're coming this way.
Donnie Elder goes deep for Tampa Bay along with Willie Drury. Drury is on the right. It'll be Donnie Elder. And it bounces off of him, and the Buccaneers now with William Howard get whatever they can, and they get it out to the 13. Let's take a look at what's coming up next week on CBS Sports. It all begins with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern, and the big one, these 49ers against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 2-0.
And again, on the road for the 49ers.
49ers opening up with 3 road games.
And again, an East Coast team. You know, the 49ers are gaining a lot of frequent flyer mileage this year.
Randall Cunningham and Joe Montana hooking up. Should be a dandy next Sunday on CBS Sports. First down, Tampa Bay on their 13. Lars Tate to the 19. Gets about 5. Winding down to 8 minutes remaining. Michael Carter, the nose tackle. Talked about the 49ers, that third straight road game next week, and they're the next 8 games, including tough ones coming up with the Rams and Saints.
And that New Orleans game, although it says it will be at home against the Saints in Candlestick, may be moved because the Giants, of course, are going to be the National League West champs, and they need the park that day.
Good point. William Howard gets moved back. And again, the 49ers defensive line and linebackers, that was Michael Walter, like their offensive line, starting to take a foothold.
Well, and the Bucks play calling is helping a lot. They're not challenging the 49ers at all with the forward pass. Testaverde, I don't think, has thrown yet in this the last 2 drives.
As you pointed out, when they were backed up on their goal line on third down, they elected not to throw the ball. They went for the sweep. So they're shaky maybe in their feeling with Vinny right now. 3rd and 5 on the 18. Pass incomplete. It was intended to Ron Hall, the tight end. Michael Walter defending.
And even if it had been complete, it would have been short of the first down. Vinny has only completed now 10 of his last 27 for about 38% or so, and it looks like he might have hurt his arm on that play. Last week he completed around 81% against the Packers, but as we said earlier, these are the Niners, these aren't the Packers.
That'll be bearing watching to see how that arm is. John Taylor goes back. Chris Moore will boot it. Not a good kick, and a fair catch called for by Taylor just short of midfield at the 49. A 32-yard kick, and there you see Vinny Testaverde over on the sideline, and Joe Ferguson, number 12, who, if anything would happen to Vinny, would be the man of the hour for Tampa Bay.
You see he's holding his hand right there. He might have bruised his fingers or something, but this is a familiar pose of last year of Testaverde, that faraway look in his eye. I got to believe that he's looking down that tunnel and he's not seeing that light at the end of it.
Or even in front of it. First down for the 49ers. They have good field position with 6:54 to go in the fourth quarter, leading 13-9. Roger Craig gets 2, and that's all, and a hard hit that time by Eugene Marv, the former Buffalo Bill. Marv was unwanted in Buffalo, and he comes over, another one of those veteran players who had success with another club helping a young team.
And the core of this Buck defense is Marv and their 2 safeties, Mark Robinson and Dirty Harry Hamilton. They are the 3 guys that hold it all together. They are responsible for all the communication.
I didn't know he had a new first name. Second down and 8. Montana. And nearly intercepted, and it is intercepted on the deflection. Mark Robinson made the hit, and Reynolds has his second interception of the game for Tampa Bay. New life for the Buccaneers.
Montana's trying to hit Rice on a curl pattern down the field. The Bucs are in zone coverage. Mark Robinson gets a great read, and he really should have intercepted it. The ball bounces off his shoulder pads, and there is Mr. Ricky Reynolds, a guy that's played awfully well today for the Bucs, with the interception. He turns him loose to Robinson on the inside. Montana's late with his pass, and the deflection comes right over to Reynolds. And the Bucs, they got a chance.
That's the second interception of the game by Ricky Reynolds. The first one resulted in a Tampa Bay field goal. The crowd is alive again. First down on the Buccaneer 40. Testaverde going up top, and that one is nearly picked off and should have been by Ronnie Lott. And he had open field in front of him.
Well, he'll never get a better chance at an interception. Testaverde just floated this ball down the middle of the field, and that's one thing you just can't do when you got the best, one of the best weak safeties of all time playing center field.
Ron Hall, the intended receiver, and Testaverde told us that all he did was see Ronnie Lott in the movies, almost to the point where he saw him in his dream.
Well, we talked with Testaverde about the 49er defense, and the name Lott kept coming up in his conversation about it.
Kind of came up a lot.
Oh, no.
Woo. Second down and 10 at the 40. Testaverde and Carrier. They'll call it. Let's see if he caught it. They did, and he fumbled. If it's a catch, there's a fumble. No signal yet from the officials. And now they'll rule it an incompleted pass.
Here's Carrier on the outside. He's going to run a crossing pattern here, and Testaverde fires a bullet a little bit high. There's the grab. There's the possession. There he's down.
He did not have possession.
Yeah, that's a matter of opinion. With that slow motion camera like that, it did not look like he had it entirely.
Looked like the ball was coming out of his arm a bit while he was in the air.
Well, the referees are having a look at it upstairs, the replay official. There's another look at it. There he's down. Hard to tell from that angle, but the 49ers are all over this ball if it is ruled a complete pass and a fumble.
Carrier went high and did well to get his hands on the ball. Testaverde and Lott.
Take a look one more time as Carrier gets open in the middle of the field. Pollard does a nice job of closing and getting Carrier before he gets to the ground. The play is being reviewed, as you heard, and there's the ball loose.
Jim Fonhorst might have picked it up, but if it was indeed a fumble.
And Chuck Heberling is up in the press box taking a look at it.
Gordon McCarter, the referee. And
you know, even if it is ruled as an incomplete, the Bucs will be faced now with a 3rd and 10. And this man right here has had all kinds of trouble ever since the first quarter when he started the game, completing 5 in a row.
Now, did they signal that the 49ers had recovered it? I didn't see a signal.
They haven't made a signal. One referee was signaling incomplete all the way, and there was never a clear signal that it was 49er ball.
We've had over a minute elapsed time on this.
Let's check
review.
out who recovers this ball here. It appears that it's got to be a 49er. That ball was popped loose by Pollard. There's Fonhorst. There's Ronnie Lott.
The interesting thing, Dan, is
and that ball comes loose, and that is William Howard that recovered the ball at the very end there.
Yeah, they did not give a signal, and they don't have to, that Tampa Bay recovered. Actually, they didn't give one that the 49ers did if they ruled that it was caught and then fumbled.
Well, hopefully we'll get it cleared up right now.
After review, the play is ruled completed pass, fumble, recovery by the passing team, 3rd down.
So it was recovered by Howard, as the replay showed.
That'll bring up about 3rd and 1 or so for the Bucs. That's a big play by William Howard. Heads up, seeing the ball on the ground. But how can 3 or 4 49ers not come up with that pigskin? Maybe it was greased a little.
William Howard. The big fullback, alert. Boy, he moves well for a 250. 3rd down and 1 on the Buccaneers side of midfield. Double tight end. Lars Tate may not have made it. He was held up at midfield, and it all depends where they spot the ball. Michael Walter came up and met him head on. And I don't think he has it where you look at the spot.
Yeah, he had to get almost all the way across the 50-yard line for the 1st down, and he is, as you can see, well short of that. Now, what does Perkins do if it's just 4th down and a couple of inches to go? He's got to go for it.
I would think trailing 13-9 with 5:14 to go, you may not get another chance like this again. Look how close.
1st down. Wow. We're going to check out Michael Walter meeting Lars Tate right in the hole. There's number 99 on the bottom of the screen here. He slips the block by Mike Simmons and gets his shoulder into Tate and holds him, but not, game of inches, right?
Right. And that extra motion on top, Tate was trying to help the officials along.
He knew he got that 1 inch.
1st down at midfield with 4:53 showing on the clock. Testaverde going up top, and it's caught. Carrier on the reception. It hit Bruce Hill, and Mark Carrier was alert to make the 26-yard reception.
Well, you need a little luck now sometimes. This is a great play by Pollard knocking the ball away, but look at that effort by Carrier reaching back. And Testaverde, he knows he got lucky on this one, although he probably didn't see the carom in the catch.
A big play, the biggest of the game thus far. 26 yards and a 1st down for the Buccaneers on the 49ers 25. Mark Carrier with acrobatics galore this afternoon. Testaverde swings it out, and the pass is incomplete. Not enough mustard on the pass intended for William Howard. Bring up 2nd and 10.
Now the Bucs have got all the bounces so far today. They got the interception when the ball bounced off of Robinson's shoulder and Ricky Reynolds made the grab, and now Carrier heads up and catches that rebound.
4:20 remaining, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need a touchdown. A field goal won't do them any good.
That's the point. Now they need 25 yards and a touchdown to go ahead in this ball game, and they haven't really showed that ability yet today.
Second and 10 at the 25. Testaverde up the middle, and he's got Bruce Hill short of a 1st down, but Hill has it inside the 20. Will bring up 3rd down. Tackled by Michael Walter. There's the clock. Bill Romanowski comes in for the 49ers, a linebacker. Going out is Charles Haley. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for Tampa Bay.
Both teams are moving in slow motion out there. Heat really taking the effect.
Testaverde fakes, Carrier, touchdown. To Mark Carrier, and Tampa Bay leads.
This is a old hook and go pattern. There's the hook and there's the go. Don Griffin bites on it, and this is a perfect pass for the touchdown. Mark Carrier showing a lot in just his 3rd year.
Donald Igwebuike will try to give Tampa Bay a 3-point lead. And he does. Mark Carrier with some tremendous work. 5 catches, 86 yards, the touchdown, and some very tough catches.
This is what Don Griffin's going to see. He sees Carrier come down and fake the in route, and now the ball is underway, and it's on the money. Griffin's played the entire ball game, has to be a little bit tired, but he got fooled by one of the oldest plays in the book.
But what about Testaverde? After looking like he was in a fog from the 2nd quarter on, passing-wise, he came alive with some big ones.
That's the potential he's shown.
We want to welcome the viewers who saw the Giants beat the Lions 24-14 at Giant Stadium. You're looking at Mark Carrier, who has just caught a touchdown pass to give the Buccaneers a 16-13 lead over the San Francisco 49ers. Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts, and this is the play that put Tampa Bay in front.
Testaverde pumps the ball to Carrier on the in route. He fakes Don Griffin with the pump and then delivers a perfect strike to Carrier in the end zone.
What about the 49ers in this game? They started out in sluggish fashion and looked like that they had the control going into the final moments.
Well, the momentum was all on their side. The Bucs got 2 lucky bounces. They got the interception off of Mark Robinson that Ricky Reynolds picked up, and then the long pass down the field to Bruce Hill that should have been an interception for the 49ers. That was deflected up in the air. Carrier made that grab, and that gave them the momentum back from the 49ers. They go in for the score, and now they're on top with just 3 minutes to go.
3:25 exactly. 16-13, Tampa Bay. Those of you who were expecting to see 60 minutes on CBS Sports, welcome to Tampa, Florida, where in the final 3:25 of this 4th quarter, with Tampa Bay leading the world champion San Francisco 49ers 16-13. Igwebuike on the kickoff, and Terrence Flagler returns. Flagler is down at the 30. The Buccaneers have just scored to take the lead on a 7-play, 60-yard drive, capped by an 18-yard touchdown pass from Vinny Testaverde to Mark Carrier, as Testaverde really, after a slumping game, has come on big in a big series.
Well, he got the lucky bounce there, and then he really delivered the really crucial pass on the touchdown, where he had to fake the defensive back, make him buy the in route, and then throw it up over the top.
Now the 49ers on their own 30. Montana has John Taylor, and Taylor has the first down up to the 45-yard line, a gain of 15. Kevin Murphy making the stop. First catch of the day for John Taylor, who caught the Super Bowl winning score.
You just wonder how much magic Montana has left today. He has played an outstanding game in this second half. He's been responsible for the 49ers getting back in sync and getting ahead on the score. We'll see if he can do it again.
Montana has Rathman. And Rathman gets down to the Tampa Bay 40. Hamilton on the stop, and that was 15 more yards for the 49ers.
Yeah, and Rathman had the chance to step out of bounds if he wanted to. He didn't. The clock is still running, and the 49ers are going to go to the hurry-up offense before the 2-minute warning.
So the 49ers have 2 timeouts left. 2-minute warning. Great surprise and a shock here after 3. 1st and 10 at the 29. Here's Craig. Sean Lee with a big defensive play. No gain. The clock continues to run.
Again, trouble with the running game for the 49ers, but they're going to a hurry-up offense right now.
2nd down and 10. Montana fake right, flag down, and Jerry Rice makes the catch for the touchdown. And now one official seems to be signaling that he might have been out of the end zone, but there's a flag back down at about the 25. So hold everything.
Now, this is a great catch regardless of the fact if he's in bounds or not. Number 93 said no. Number 75 there said yes. And now we're going to find out what this penalty is. It was thrown in the backfield, defensive backfield of the Bucs, so it could be pass interference against either team.
Gordon McCarter is our official. Jerry Rice has already caught a 2-yard touchdown pass today.
And Montana signals that it's holding in the defensive backfield against the Bucs.
That's what it is. We want to welcome the viewers who watch the Vikings and the Bears.
The field was completed catch, touchdown. The play is being reviewed. The play is being reviewed.
Here's what's happening right now. Joe Montana presumably threw a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice at the back of the end zone, Dan.
And the review is, did he have both feet in the end zone with possession of the ball before he stepped out of the back? This is what the officials are looking at upstairs in the replay booth. There's the perfect throw. Look at the catch. Great hands. One leg down, and one out of bounds. That's not a catch.
They're reviewing it now. One official signaled touchdown, and the other one signaled that he was not in the end zone, that he was out of the end zone.
Well, if they're looking at the same pictures that we are right now, there's no way that they can rule this a touchdown, because there's his left foot is in the end zone and his right foot is clearly out of bounds. But the penalty was against the Bucs. The 49ers will have a ball, 1st down, inside the 20-yard line.
Here's Gordon McCarter.
After further review, the play has been ruled incomplete pass. However, we have a defensive holding. 5 yards and automatic 1st down.
So pass interference against the defensive team, the Buccaneers. 49ers couldn't lose, although they could win big with that touchdown.
Yeah, the good news and the bad news is the good news that you still have the ball and it's 1st down. The bad news is you still got to score a touchdown to win this one.
Or a field goal to tie. Ray Perkins, who promised success for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this the 3rd year.
And I think he's got to be happy with the way his ball club played. This is the barometer, he said, to tell him how good a football team he has. He's got to be extremely pleased that they lead the Super Bowl champs with 1:30 to go in the ball game.
Beat Green Bay last week, but this was a step up in class for sure. 1st down, Niners on the 25 of Tampa Bay. To go. Roger Craig inside the 20. Donnie Elder on the stop. Want to remind our viewers that 60 minutes will follow the finish of this game. As you could see, Roger Craig not having a very productive afternoon on the ground. 2nd and 5. The pass intended for Rathman. Overthrown. 3rd down.
But what you'll see Montana here in this situation, if he doesn't have a guy wide open, he's not going to force it in there. He knows that a field goal will give him a tie and put it into overtime, and he's got to like his chances against anybody in overtime. He's going to be very careful where he goes with this ball.
Still, it's a much tougher battle than the 49ers had anticipated, as much as they talked about Tampa Bay's upstart abilities.
It took the 49ers a half a game to get anything going, to get back into sync, to start playing championship football.
3rd and 5. 4 wide receivers. Montana has Taylor. He's got a first down, but a flag is thrown from the defensive backfield. Taylor has the first down, ridden out of bounds by Rod Jones. A gain of 12, but a penalty is down.
And again, it's going to be defensive holding in the backfield from the Bucs.
Second time in this drive. It'll be an automatic. Well, it was a first down in any event.
And they'll refuse this penalty because now they'll have the ball inside the 10, whereas if they take the penalty, it wouldn't be quite that far.
Holding, number 40, defense, penalty decline, first down.
Donnie Elder called for the flag, and the 49ers have the ball 1st and goal at the 8-yard line now with exactly a minute to go in regulation. 2
holding penalties in the defensive backfield is really caused by the fatigue factor. These guys are running around all day. We've played 59 minutes of this ball game. It's hot, it's humid, the players are tired. This is another long 49er drive, and that's why we're getting that type of penalty.
Rathman goes out, 3 wide receivers. Mike Wilson is the 3rd. Craig cut down for a loss of 2. Mark Robinson, the strong safety. The clock did not run, so we're going to have an adjustment, although one of the clocks says 54 seconds. In any event, the 49ers have used their second timeout of the second half.
That's just a case of home field advantage. You know that the guy working the clock has got to at least live in the Florida, the Tampa Bay area here. You don't think they imported him from San Francisco, do you?
I'm sure no one else was looking at the clock.
No, but our crack crew was. He got a good shot of it. Mark Robinson having an outstanding day. We talked earlier about he and Hamilton and Marv being the leaders of this team. Well, this is where the leaders have got to come up and make the play. They got to stop Roger Craig on a sweep like that, and that's what Robinson did.
Tampa Bay had scored a few moments ago on a pass from Testaverde to Mark Carrier to give the Buccaneers
to give extra attention to Jerry Rice.
1 timeout left for the Niners. 2nd down and goal at the 9. 2 tight ends, San Francisco. Montana. And that nearly was intercepted by Ricky Reynolds, intended for Rice. They had him covered.
Well, Reynolds did a super job of cutting inside on this slant pattern and broke it up.
Third and 9.
49ers only have 1 timeout left.
51 seconds on the clock. 3rd and goal at the 9. Joe Montana on 3rd and 9 overthrows John Taylor, but a penalty marker is down. You're looking at a dramatic finish in the 4th quarter of this game. Those of you who have been watching Phoenix and Seattle, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been called for defensive holding for the 3rd time on this drive, and the 49ers will have an automatic first down as they try to pull out a victory here against Tampa Bay.
Number 40 defense, half the distance penalty, automatic first down.
Donnie Elder for the 2nd time guilty of holding, and so here's the story. The Buccaneers lead the Niners 16-13 with 46 seconds to go, but they keep giving San Francisco a new life, Dan Fouts.
Well, and that's murder. And it's murder. It's like suicide. The Bucs just can't afford to do it. They've got to find a way to make a play without giving the 49ers new life.
On the 4, here's Montana. He'll run for it, and he scores. Joe Montana with a a 4-yard run. And the San Francisco 49ers have regained the lead with 40 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
You know, the last time Montana was in Florida, he didn't do too poorly either. Here he gets the winning touchdown on the bootleg, a play that's been good for the 49ers all day long. He could have thrown this ball to any number of receivers in the back of the end zone. Brent Jones, number 84, was wide open, but Montana saw this clear sailing to the corner of the end zone for what appears to be the winning touchdown.
He has been the leading rusher today for the 49ers, Mike Kofer, to add the extra point, and a big one because San Francisco now leads it by a score of 20-16 with 40 seconds to go. So the Buccaneers, who have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, need to go the field, the length, and a touchdown. The only way they can win. A game in which the Buccaneers have given the 49ers all they can handle, dominated them really in the first half with superior defense. Even though the Niners led 6-3 after 3 quarters, Tampa Bay was up by a field goal and actually led by 3 with minutes to go. But Joe Montana, as he has so many times, Dan, led him on the big drive, and the inexperienced defense hurt Tampa Bay.
Well, it really did. That with a couple of holding penalties that kept the 49ers 70-yard drive alive. The Bucs have learned a great lesson today. They have been able to sit here in this classroom and learn from the master, Joe Montana. He's continued to come up with a big play all day long, getting in the end zone, running the ball himself. You know, he's going to sleep well on this 5-hour flight they got back to the city.
Donnie Elder on the left, Willie Drury on the right. You're right about Montana, gained 41 yards rushing today. As Koper prepares to kick off. And it'll be Elder. He'll down it for the touchback. Well, tonight's the night. It's CBS Premier Sunday, starting with the season premiere of 60 Minutes. Then Angela Lansbury hosts the CBS Premier Preview, starting with the full-length preview of the bright new comedy Major Dad, starring Gerald McRaney, and it's a fascinating comedy about a military major who meets a young lady. He's got 3 daughters, and he really has his hands full. Then stay tuned as Angela Lansbury and the cast of Murphy Brown introduce you to some of the new stars on CBS. You'll love them all. John Cryer of the famous Teddy Z, Richard Chamberlain from Island Sun, and Tim Reed and Daphne Maxwell Reed of Stoops. First down on the 20. Testaverde's pass is incomplete, intended for Ron Hall, the tight end. Expect from Tampa Bay here.
Well, Tampa Bay has to go the distance. They got to get a touchdown. They're down by 4, 80 yards in 36 seconds. Tough.
6 defensive backs and a fumble. 49ers signaling that they've recovered, and they have. And that'll wrap things up.
A fumbled snap. Testaverde finishes his day, not in the fashion he started it, but he has had a rough afternoon from the second quarter on.
Kevin Fagan made the recovery for the 49ers.
Let's see what happens here. If he just steps out too soon, or if Grimes doesn't get the ball up, really doesn't matter in this situation. The Bucs had a tough task ahead of them. They played an outstanding game today, took the 49ers to the wire.
Testaverde looks like that he's hurting over in the sidelines. He had injured his right hand briefly before. Now it's his left. And the 49ers will just run it out, although the Buccaneers still have all of their timeouts remaining. They want the timeout. Tampa Bay coaches are signaling. The Bears with a big win over Minnesota in a final score. Giants over Detroit. The Rams over the Colts. Eric Dickerson going back to Anaheim, 31-17 the final score there. So the Rams, the Saints, and the 49ers will all go to 2-0 in the NFC West.
You know, I believe that Green Bay came back to upset the Saints.
It's probably the only game that didn't have that scoring that we had throughout the NFL in what had really been a shootout day in the NFL on Sunday.
Yeah, this was a good defensive ball game. Very exciting throughout. You can't get much more excitement than having Joe Montana in a situation where he's got to drive the length of the field for the winning points. I mean, how many times can the guy do it? It's just great to watch.
Well, coming up shortly, a big night, a premiere night on CBS, starting with 60 Minutes.
And the lessons go on for Vinny Testaverde. Had a super opening day last week against the Packers, where he hit 81% of his passes. Today he's well under 500.
And Joe Montana really moved the ball primarily through the air. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers really snuffed out the 49ers ground game.
Outstanding job by the Bucs linebacking core and their front line. They had super penetration for the better part of the day. And Roger Craig won't be held to this few yards many times, but the Bucs deserve a lot of credit.
20-16 with 18 seconds to go. The Buccaneers used a timeout there. Montana uses up some more time.
But you know what he's doing is he's ruining his rushing average.
That's right. Another timeout called by the Buccaneers. And they are out of timeouts with 8 seconds remaining. College football next Saturday, and if you like Rocket Ismail and those great, you can say a close call for the 49ers. You could also say it's the mark of a champion to come back from behind late. And that'll do it. And the clock didn't start.
Unbelievable. That's the home field advantage working again, but they can't stop it now.
Well, it wouldn't matter anyway because the clock would run out.
Well, but it's 4th down, so the clock would stop if Montana didn't eat up that 8 seconds with the change of possession, but the clock never started.
Well, this is kind of a awkward, just disjointed way of ending this one.
Yeah, an outstanding ball game. To have the finish like this is kind of disturbing. They said that only took 3 seconds.
There are officially 3 seconds remaining.
Now they're saying it took 5 seconds. So.
Some of the players are more upset than anyone else.
Well, and the Bucs have 1 play left, so anything can happen. The clock stops at a change of possession, so the Buccaneers can throw this ball, you know, down the field, see if they can get a pass interference or get in that end zone, but chances aren't very good.
3 seconds to go. Prevent defense for San Francisco here. Only 3 men rushing. Testaverde. And the pass is picked off by Ronnie Lott, and that'll be a 2nd interception as the game finally ends. The 49ers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a big struggle for the world champs, 20-16. Where the 49ers beat the Bucs 20-16. You've been watching CBS coverage